All right, guys, we are back and we're getting into the finals momentarily. The main course, as Gypsy said, so I hope you have your utensils out. It's going to be a PVT, a rematch of the finals from last season where Bonyth won 4-1. But as I pointed out the other day, even though the score said 4-1, the games were very exciting. And again, the Sylphid game stood out to me where TerrOr had that game. And I was like, wow, are we really going to see TerrOr take this series? Because I think that would have put him up like 2-0 or something, which we never see. We never see ever Bonyth fall behind in a PVT. So this should be very exciting. I'm curious to see whether TerrOr has found some weaknesses in Bonyth's game from last season, or if he feels like what he went for last season can be another recipe for success despite losing the series. Minor tweaks with his game, I think, means that TerrOr could potentially win. But it's Bonyth, man. It's BSL. Once Bonyth enters the BSL, it's almost like he can't lose, really. Like, remember, he has a 100% win rate versus Terran in series.
Yeah, Bonyth Starleague. The Bonyth
Yeah.
Starleague forehead. Well, he is definitely the favorite here. TerrOr has had a great tournament, obviously making it back to the finals as well. If you look at the roster of players, who could give Bonyth a better run for his money? Can't really think of anyone else, really. I mean, DeWalt, maybe, but DeWalt also, remember, last tournament got 3-0'd by Bonyth. The Zerg players Bonyth has dispatched. Siki. Maybe True Touch. We haven't seen True Touch versus Bonyth. But the point is, I feel like this is the finals that makes the most sense. Probably the two best players right now in the foreign scene. So, TerrOr versus Bonyth. We'll have to... that's right. Bonyth had some... Well, in any case, TerrOr, Bonyth. What more could we ask for a final?
Well, I can't ask for much because as a Terran player, I want to see a Terran in the final, and I want to see a Terran player actually expose Bonyth potential weakness. We haven't seen anybody do it. Nobody. Last season was the closest it's really ever come, even though Bonyth still won. And I'm trying to think back to all the games. Did TerrOr really even cheese at all in any of the games? I don't think he did. It was just straight up pure macro play. Maybe this time around, if he mixes in something early in the series, all of a sudden it could make Bonyth a little bit worried about, okay, is this going to be a series where I just get cheesed every game? Sometimes players set the tone like that, like instantly when you think of people that are aggro. I always think of Tai 2. It's like, okay, he 5-pulled, and he 5-pulled, and then he 5-pulled, and then he 5-pulled, like 4 games in a row. You have to keep that in the back of your mind when you play somebody like TerrOr. So I hope that we see some aggressive play from him in the early stages at some point.
Yeah.
Now we are going to be in a best of 7, guys. So
I was gonna follow that up, and I know you were looking at my camera. It looks like I'm doing something else, but I was definitely gonna follow that up. But now I forgot exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah. You forgot what I was talking about.
No, I was.
Remember, chat. Just a second ago, he told me he was looking at his camera, so I'm pretty sure he didn't.
No, it wasn't.
He just wasn't listening at all. Because that's what
I was listening to you, man. You can't do this to me.
The white shirt and a tie, it's all a facade. It's just a fake.
Well, I don't have pants on, so.
Okay.
Okay, I don't think I'm supposed to say that.
Going to a Zoom interview. So we've got.
Well, you know who doesn't wear pants on their official broadcast?
Who?
I know you know. Taste hostess, baby.
Oh, they don't. Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't know. I've seen it firsthand. They go in there. They have their shirts and blazers, but under that, they've got some nice summer shorts on.
Well, we gotta look at the profile statistics. You can see TerrOr's win rate's pretty darn good. 60%. Versus 60% or higher versus Zerg and Terran, but just 52% versus Protoss. But again, that's still a high win rate. Meanwhile, Bonyth, his weakest matchup is a 75% win rate versus Zerg. Meanwhile, there's the 100% statistic versus Terran, and then 92% versus Protoss. So absolute monster in PvP matchup especially. So TerrOr's going to have a rough time. I'm curious what map is going to be first. Let's see if we have them selected. Okay, we do have them selected. It's going to be Tau Cross first. And I'm trying to think back to the past when I played Tau Cross. What did I hate the most other than Reaver drops in my main?
Well, recalls can be a bit hard to deal with.
Yeah, recall can be very hard, but actually, I'm going to say luckily here for TerrOr, Bonyth is not recall man. He's really not even arbiter man. He's carrier man. So I think that's a...
Well, this is... You know what's funny about this is that this is actually Bonyth's pick.
Yeah. that as soon as... If I was TerrOr and I saw Bonyth pick Tau Cross, instantly alarm bells are going off here because I'm thinking like, okay, why would you ever want to get carriers on this map? Because the mid, sure, there's some bridges, but really it's massively open. Like, it's incredibly open. The only real engagements you want to take as a Protoss player with carriers is if you're like defending your main or defending your the other main, or you're attacking over Terran's lead. Like, that's it. You never want to fight in the center of the map. So that might mean that Bonyth has something specifically planned for Tau Cross.
Could be. But of course we'll have to wait until we get into the game to figure that one out. Of course, again, I mean, look at TerrOr has had just phenomenal results for a while now. Not quite clinching the victory, but, you know, just consistently so strong. Bonyth, of course, the BSL is the Bombastic Starleague. He has won the previous 4 iterations. Will anyone ever dethrone this guy? Well, we might see it today.
We could see it, even though he lost, or even though TerrOr lost last season. Like I said, games were close. Yesterday, Zeke put up quite a show, and he really should have won the Eclipse game. I think for sure he should have won that game out of all the games that he ended up losing, but was not able to take down the beast that is Bonyth. But we are ready, guys, so let's get into our first game of our finals of BSL12. It's, of course, going to be between King Bonyth and up-and-coming TerrOr. Let's see if TerrOr can take him down. So in the top left, our Terran player. It is TerrOr.
And in the bottom right, the blue Protoss, it is Bonyth.
I'm already not feeling TerrOr's chances. You know why? Because before Zero was able to switch that color change, I did not see magenta, man.
Well, we are going to go into remake. Bonyth not quite happy with the connection. Yeah, there's lag, man. Come on, you saw that? It was stuttering.
I thought it was going to be another one of those, oh, it's not the right version of the map. And I'm like, man, how does he know right from the get-go that this is not the right version?
Yeah, well, we'll have to see here if we can get this issue sorted out. But, yeah, we're going to go into remake. Tau Cross, again, is going to be the map between TerrOr and Bonyth. Now, yeah, no, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, well, you played in PSL this season, so you had to prepare for a lot of maps. Did you prepare for Tau Cross at all, or?
Nope.
Not really. Nope. Just like that. Nope. Wasn't even on the radar. All right, well, back when I played on this map, actually we saw a lot of heavy factory builds, low upgrades, to try and kill the Protoss before it gets to mid and late game, where recall man is a real factor. And we know that TerrOr has that in his arsenal. I know he does like to go for +1 timings, so that could be an option from TerrOr.
Looking at this map, the most obvious comparison here is between this map and Sylphid, because Sylphid is kind of the most modern 3-player map that we have, and the layout is pretty similar in terms of, well, there's obviously way fewer bases. Then you think about Sylphid. Okay, Sylphid's a really good Terran map, a very good Terran map versus Protoss, but there are just way more bases to take. And then if you look at Tau Cross, it's basically Sylphid without all the bases. And if Silphid has no bases for Terran to take, I feel like it's a terrible Terran map going into the late game.
Yeah, Tau Cross, you get 3 gas, then where do you get your 4th gas?
Yeah.
You can get the 4th mineral base, that's easy. But even the 5th mineral base is quite far. And getting the 6th base with the gas, that's going to be the real challenge for Terra. But, a lot of games versus Bonyth don't even go that long. And if they do go that long, you're facing like 15 carriers. So you probably don't even want to get to that state versus Bonyth. But it looks like players are ready. So we're going to get back into Tau Cross. Let's see who can start off the series with a quick victory on Tau Cross. Oh, we got different spawns this time. And in the mid left, we have our king. It is Bonyth.
Yeah. And in the top right, it is TerrOr in that gray Terran.
Great. Well, he switched it up. Now I'm feeling good for TerrOr's chances. He's got the magenta back on. Meanwhile, Bonyth was repping that pink color. Now, Tau, I have nightmares on this map about a lot of proxy gates, and we know Bonyth does do that sometimes, but it doesn't look like he's sending out a probe fast enough to go for a move like that. Now, remember, in the previous rounds of TerrOr, what we've seen so far was we saw him go for the gas, but only leave 1 SCV on mining it, and we probably are going to see that again. But we saw that in TVT, right? Like, that was the matchup I think this time around this season we saw it pulled out.
Oh, what?
You don't remember? Yeah, okay, remember, chat, remember, he's listening, he just forgot what I said. Just keep that in mind. Remember, I was talking about the gas.
I don't know, I heard like TVT or something, and then...
The gas that TerrOr does, where he builds it at like 12, 13, or 14.
Yeah,
and then
13
leaves
gas.
one mining, and then he just leaves one mining and decides whether he's...
Oh, the flex build, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, the flex build, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a TVP build.
Yeah, but he used it TVT.
But he used it
yeah,
in
that's
TVT.
Why,
yeah, so you would expect him to actually
out.
use it in the matchup that it was designed for.
Yes, that's why I'm pointing it out. We might see it again.
It actually makes no sense to use it in TV. Well, it does. Oh yeah, we were talking about how you get the factory faster off the expansion to maybe hold some kind of all-in. But, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So maybe that, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but we've never seen, there's no Koreans that use it like that, so... Interesting, but in this map, and it looks like in TVP, he's actually going to go for a 12 gas. Now, the standard again today these days is to go for that 12 scout 13 gas. It's just so much better. It allows you to go into a Rax expand if you first scout the Protoss, and it allows you to still get that factory going in case Bonyth or the Protoss does go for a 12 Nexus. But he can still go for a 12 gas if you just want to, in general, play an anti-Nexus strategy. But that's really the only reason I would see for going 12 gas. Like, for example, on a map like Eclipse, I like the 12 gas in general, because if I'm not getting gas stolen, I know they're most likely 12 Nexusing. But on a map like this, 12 Nexus is not very... I wouldn't say it's very common, but it might be a pretty good build, though, to be honest, here.
Well, there is far rush
it.
distances on Tau Cross, so 12 Nexus could have been an option. And actually, this was an 11 gas from TerrOr, so his factory's slightly faster than usual. Not that much faster, maybe something like 5, 6, 7 seconds faster than a normal factory. We'll see if he... Oh, I was wondering where that 100 gas is going to go. That is going to be a second factory. And I think this is a wise choice, because the fact that Bonyth picked this map in particular, and this is really not the greatest carrier map, he must have had something planned. So I like how TerrOr is just going to try and end the game quickly, and I think this is just going to be for proxy 3 gate. I do not think this is going to be for a robo, but it could be.
Well, I think this is robotics for sure, right?
It could be. I mean, it's a common build, and he has the 200 gas. Oh, that's a robo. That is going to be a robo. Yeah,
that's the most robotics proxy I've ever seen, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because it's right next to his base, but the goon pokes in and did not see a command center being built. So already, Bonyth knows that something's coming at him, and this proxy robo is either a blessing or a heartache, because when the Reaver comes out inevitably, it's not going to be able to help with an attack. However, it will be able to go for an instant counterattack.
Yeah, and with 2 factory, you don't really have turrets, obviously, so we'll see. I mean, this is just going to be one of those crazy, hectic games where it's almost going to be a base trade situation. Vulture is out. Terror's going with the earliest possible timing on that first tank. Now, for
Vulture.
Yeah, if he sees the Vulture, that would be... Did he?
Yeah, he saw it, so it's already been given away that this is a 2-fact, and Bonyth should put down an extra gateway now. We know that the Robo is very, very, very proxied, and if those Marines and tanks or Vultures, whatever, somehow scout it, that's gonna be a dead Robo, because I think he skipped range to try and get this. I think, maybe not. I mean, the Cybernetics isn't spinning. If he had gone for range, it would have completed by now. So
that was range, dude. Come on.
Okay,
man.
he did get range. So at least the goons are gonna have range and be able to do. Oh, the Vulture gets in. How does that happen? He's even gonna kill a probe. Nope. Okay, he does kill the probe, but he should be confused. Like, okay, where's your Nexus?
Well, where is the Reaver? It is on the way. 5:30 should be popping out any second now. Will Bonyth bring the Reaver back to defend? The thing is, this is only 2 tanks and a couple of Marines. That is 4 Dragoons. The Vulture does have mines. We'll see how good Bonyth's micro is. He's going to pounce on that first tank, but it's just so hard in this latency, really. Mines are getting laid down, and it looks like Bonyth is going to get pushed back into his main base. Now, again, when is that Reaver going to pop? He's actually pulling the probes out. This is terrible for Bonyth. He's going to lose so many workers. Mines are getting laid down. Double tank just shooting at Protoss, and Bonyth killed the Marines, but took so much damage in exchange.
Well, this is the question now, because Bonyth is moving with that shuttle, I think, and did he show the shuttle? Is he going to try and save his base?
Dude.
Yes, CRVT with another massive donation. Battery's not done just yet. The goons are trying to get in position to snipe these tanks, but there goes that shuttle into the main. But is it too late? This is a 6:30 Reaver drop after Proxy Robo. This is incredibly late, but TerrOr didn't realize it at all. I actually think TerrOr should just SCV drill all of his SCVs to Protoss's base and just go for the base trade scenario.
Yeah.
No, the tank gets blown up by a mine because the goon dragged it.
That mine was huge, and you know, this is a type of situation that definitely favors Terran, because they just start lifting their buildings. I actually don't think Bonyth can win this game. As you mentioned, TerrOr just has to vacate, or evacuate rather, his workers, but he's just fighting this Reaver for some reason, or the Dragoon rather. But I mean, Bonyth isn't mining, so he only has a limited number of Scarabs.
He has 1 SCV! He has 0 SCVs, and now he's lifted his command center, so we have a base trade scenario. So now the real question is can the Reaver save the Robo? Because TerrOr cannot Bonyth cannot rebuild his base. This command center might actually die. TerrOr needs to float everything, man. Not just some of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the reality is, this is at worst a draw for Terran, because I don't actually think Bonyth can't afford anything. He can't kill all these buildings with a Dragoon if they just float to a corner, and he definitely can't defend this. So Bonyth is going to lose probably all of his buildings, and he doesn't have enough resources. He actually made a second Reaver, but that's almost worse for him, because he can't make Scarabs. So this game's over.
I don't know if it's over or not, because now there's an additional goon out. Well, the goon died, and another goon comes out.
I'm actually surprised he made those goons.
Yeah, because now he can't build Scarabs.
Yeah.
Okay, he gets it's over now because he doesn't have any money. Like, the Reavers can't kill all these Vultures and all the tanks. It's impossible.
Yep, you're 100% right about that one, Nyokin, and
he has 2 Scarabs. That's it.
Yeah, well,
unless all of the tanks and all the Vultures bunch up, now he has 1. That's it. Goodbye. Well, this was a crazy game, but unfortunately, he's going to lose because he just can't shoot anything. He has that 1 goon, right? Is it in the main of of Terra's base? I think it is. That's it. This is his only DPS. And he just taps out.
GG.
Well,
Bonyth.
yeah.
No, yeah, no. I mean, Bonyth lost, man. TerrOr takes game 1 with an unorthodox strategy, but both sides really, and I just don't really understand why the Reaver was so late.
Yeah, the Reaver was very late. If you're going to get a 330 Robo, which is what it was, 630 Reaver in my base, that's just flat out too late. And it's proxied, so that makes it even faster. So something went devastatingly wrong for Bonyth, and he gets punished. But I like what TerrOr did, because as we stated in the beginning of the match, Bonyth picking Tau is very, very unusual. It's not surprising to me if TerrOr picks it, because he has all types of things in his arsenal, like, you know, drops. He can drop the Nat, go for tank bust, or tank siege on the ledge. But for Bonyth to pick it, very unusual. So TerrOr, I think from the get-go knew, like, hey, okay, this is going to be a weird game. And this was a nice response from him. He catches Bonyth completely off guard with it, even though Bonyth saw the second Vulture. But really, I think Bonyth could have won with the double Reaver if he didn't build the goons.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he couldn't have won that game.
He could have. It could have been a draw at least.
Yeah, it could have been a draw, but it would have been hard to draw it. No, it was a draw for sure. You can't. There's corners you can hide buildings.
Yeah, but
in.
you have to. Okay, we know there's corners, but in the spur of the moment, TerrOr is probably sending all of his stuff to Bonyth's main and trying to mine there.
Yeah,
That's
but there's only
the
one goon, dude. Like, it takes forever.
I know, but one.
There's
goon
a
does
command
damage.
center, factory, racks.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
It would be the.
Anyways.
I mean, I know what you're saying. It's hard to figure that out in the spur of the moment, but when you kill all the probes in the Nexus, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is coming from me. I would probably just GG out anyway, even though it's a one game. So, TerrOr is leading the series 1-0 here in this finals. That is a best of 7, mind you. So, still a long way to go here. You know, winning the first game isn't as important as in a best of 5, best of 3 situation. Best of 7 really tests your stamina and your mental endurance as well. Bonyth, of course, has just been in the situation time and again. We'll see if he can compose himself.
Yeah, and last season I think TerrOr was up 1-0 also, so it's not like Bonyth hasn't come back from a situation like this before. But you don't see this often where Bonyth is actually down a game at any point in a series. Remember, Talcross was his map pick, so we're going to be getting into TerrOr's map pick. It's going to be Polypoid, not shocked by this. Very standard map. So what do you think we might potentially see from TerrOr's point of view this time around, now that we're getting into a more normal-ish map?
Well,
or can it even be predicted?
We have had this conversation before, yesterday in fact.
Carousel NW is Subagosu for 30 months. Go Bonyth.
The Flash of the non-Korean
Oh
scene.
yeah,
I mean,
he
is the 4th race. You just have no idea what is coming out of this guy's head. And really, it's just impossible to predict, and that's one of his strengths. Polypoid, though, is one of those maps that is incredibly hard to be aggressive on, particularly off of 2 bases. 1 base, of course, can work almost anywhere, but 2 bases, much harder to pull off. We'll have to see here. Polypoid is going to be game 2. Get into it.
So in the bottom right in the red, shockingly, down 0-1, it is Bonyth.
And in the top left, it is TerrOr. In the gold Terran.
It's just getting more and more wild with you. People are going to be wondering, like, what type of color blindness does Gypsy have?
Yeah.
Is there even a color blindness for blue?
I'm sure it's dystopian X17. Dude, the colorblind, whatever conditions are called, like, they have the dopest names.
They do. I have looked at them. They
like
are pretty cool.
tryptophobia or something. No, that's the wrong one.
I don't know about that. But we do have standard pylon placement for Bonyth in bottom right. No forward gate shenanigans. I guess the only potential shenanigan now could be 12 Nexus. Meanwhile, we don't see a forward depot from TerrOr. I don't know why we would see that, but it could set up potentially for a barracks gasless
depot,
expand.
dude.
Yeah, like gasless expand. Maybe wants to build his
All
first
right,
depot on the low ground.
that was the biggest slip up ever, man. 4 depot, dude. I mean, it is the 4th race. That I feel like TerrOr's depot is probably burrow into the ground and lift up. I could have sworn I've seen that before.
I don't know. Oh yeah, yeah, we might have seen that before. The completely on Shakura's plateau, I've seen that happen quite a lot.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
TerrOr, if anyone can do it, it's definitely TerrOr. So.
Well, we've got the 11 gas for TerrOr again, so he's playing it completely different than what I was expecting with the 1 on gas and then making a determination whether he wants to build the factory, go for the command center. And meanwhile, nothing abnormal from Bonyth. I didn't get to see whether he built the Zealot. I think it says 16 out of 17, which means there should be a Zealot coming.
Yeah. Well, we'll see here. I mean, the Zealot isn't going to be very effective given the fact that it is cross-spawn. But sometimes, you know, Protosses do go for that early Zealot to just have the Zealot Goon attack that can totally punish a Terran that... You know, the one thing about going Zealot first cross-spawn, not that any of this will matter, because I doubt it'll play out like this between these 2 players, but generally, you know, if you don't scout the Zealot and you just assume that it is a Dragoon first from the Protoss, Terran can go for that 3 Marine expand and skip the bunker until a bit later. And a lot of Protosses actually like to play with that in mind and kind of just keep the Zealot back and then do an attack with the Zealot and the Dragoon. And if there's no bunker at the natural, you just get immediately punished. But TerrOr looks like he's just going to sit on his ramp and probably do an FD type build, which we never see in this matchup. He's still mining with 2 on gas.
I think this could be a starport. Oh, well, that is a very, very late second factory. I thought for sure it was going to be a starport, seeing how late this second factory was in comparison to last game.
The Zealot is going to scout it.
Yeah, he's going to come in here and see, okay, you don't have a command center again. And he might just walk in. And whether or not this Zealot gets any Marine kills
Oh, it's not hitting, though!
It's not hitting. Yeah, it gets a Marine kill. And actually, this was not the greatest move from Bonyth. However, the Goon is almost here already. And those Marines are softened up. So the Goons might be able to dish out the killing blow. But with that 3rd Marine coming out, TerrOr, if he retreats to his ramp, is going to be fine. But this is going to give away that this is not a command center.
Yeah, well, the CC would have been down by now, especially without the bunker there. And, I mean, without the bunker, the thing is these Marines can't actually fight. Well, they can when they're in enough numbers.
Well, actually, this, even though there's no command center, I think this was kind of a mistake from Bonyth. Like, sure, he traded there, but because the game has gotten wild, he may think, like, okay, TerrOr built an extra depot. He's building these extra Marines because he wants to expand. Okay, now he comes in and sees that the SCV is still here, and that could kind of now officially tip it off that there should have been a command center by now, at least.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, there should have been a command center by now. There's no doubt in my mind that Bonyth knows something is up, but sometimes you just maybe think, well, did this guy just screw up his build and I'm putting on enough pressure for the command center not to be here? But I mean, Bonyth should know, like, it's just so standard. But I don't think he does, because Bonyth went for the robotics after his expansion. You would expect the second gate to be thrown down, and the second gate is so late, so I actually don't think Bonyth knows this was a 2-factor, even a fact port build, and he's going to get punished. I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to this natural.
Well, we know that TerrOr is reinforcing with Vultures. He's got his 2 tanks and about 3 or 4 Marines moving across the map. There's only 3 Goons, I think is what I saw, in position. Meanwhile, the probe misses the 2 Vultures, and that's critical. He may think that this is just a command center follow-up behind this, but that's not the case, of course. Meanwhile, the Goons are out of position, and those are mines, not speed. And Bonyth is desperate to take down... Okay, he luckily picks off that 1 Vulture before a lot of mines can get into position, but mine triggers, and oh, the Goons somehow stopped that mine from connecting. That could have been game-ending. but he loses another goon, and vultures or tanks and marines are going to try and push up this ramp.
Oh, you can't go up that ramp,
Yeah, you
TerrOr.
can't
That's
go up the ramp.
insane.
Just
Okay,
kill the probes.
Yeah, he does pull back there. I was gonna say, imagine he actually commits there and gets sandwiched by probes. I mean, he is kind of pushing too much. You know, the reality is that TerrOr is doing so much damage, but he does not have a command center behind this, and he's not making, well, I don't know if he's making SCVs or not, but he will kill this Nexus. Protoss can still play this game out. It will be really hard, though, because now TerrOr can essentially contain the Protoss at the natural. I wonder if he's going to bring an SCV to build a bunker, maybe rally a couple more Marines. Probably siege mode is on the way here. Bonyth needs to get out onto this natural before siege mode completes. With siege mode in mines, it's going to be so hard to push through.
Well, if he was to just build a single shuttle and go for Zealot Bomb, it would clean up very fast. Now, TerrOr threw all of his vultures, but we have to remember, of course, that he did eventually take down the Nexus. But you can see supplies still in favor of Bonyth, and he has a lot of goons. Like, he can go for a counterattack and put pressure back onto the Terran player. Terran now just building their command center, so it wasn't like TerrOr had killer econ as a follow-up. He's, you know, it's not like he killed a lot of probes here, so the game is going to kind of reset at this point. Bonyth, for now, does not need to build any more goons, just build up his econ, and he should be in an okay position. Now, you can see that he's leaving a couple of goons back to make sure that Vulture run-by doesn't catch him.
I'm surprised that there is no siege mode there from TerrOr, and I don't know if it's because he chose to not go for that second add-on. You know, it's really rare these days to see a 2-factory with just a single add-on. I feel like the meta 2-factory build nowadays is double add-on, and either you get 2 tanks or you get 4 tanks. But kind of a missed opportunity, honestly, because if TerrOr had siege mode there, he could have set up with the mines, and there is no way for Protoss to break through that with pure goon, even with an observer. Like, it just takes forever for the goons to clear the mines. While they just get pelted down by the siege mode. So looks like we are going to get into the mid game here more or less evenly. Terran is definitely ahead slightly just because the command center is finished earlier and he's mining from the natural, but you know, TerrOr doesn't have an armory just yet. He does have a bunch of tanks but no vultures out on the map, so could be worse here. In this type of situation too, Protoss can easily take a third base. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a third Nexus go down here for Bonyth to try and catch up economically. That's generally what the Protoss game plan is.
Yeah, we see that TerrOr doing his patented turret placement. It's interesting because I personally like the turret ring, but he always has this open bottom side of his main. You can see that the turrets are not at the bottom side, so there is actually potential for Reaver to get in and deal a little bit of damage. Of course, there's a turret by the mineral, so he can't go completely in, but it is an interesting turret placement. Now, behind this, Bonyth has got his Nexus up and running. There is no third Nexus anywhere. TerrOr has done a good job to prevent that from going up. Now, here comes that Reaver. I think it's going to get punished by these tanks on high ground. There's one big shot. Repair would delay that turret from dying. He's going to need another shot to take that down. Not going to actually take it down, and this Reaver has done nothing for him.
Yeah, and Bonyth is just not expanding either. He most likely invested into shuttle speed here, and this late third base is really going to hurt him. I mean, you know, this matchup in PvT, Protoss desperately needs the faster third Nexus. They need to start outpacing Terran in the economy because their units are just worse than the Terran units. And unfortunately for Bonyth, I mean, sometimes Protoss can delay that third base for either more harassment or for faster tech. But here, Bonyth's harassment isn't really doing anything.
Look at that. As a Terran player, you're just shaking your head so much watching this Protoss try and go through 2 turrets and actually making it through. Now he's going to take some damage from that turret. Luckily for him, he doesn't lose the shuttle, at least not just yet. The Goliath trying to get in there. Did he lose a tank there? I think he did at the top side.
Yeah,
so Zealot for a tank. Zealot for a tank, that's a good trade, but his shuttle took a lot of damage. Meanwhile, behind this, Bonyth, of course, building his third Nexus.
Yeah, third Nexus finally coming down, but so far, I mean, Terran probably is ahead in workers still. especially because the command center was, I mean, two factors. One was the early 2 factory killed a bunch of probes, and the natural command center was up longer than the natural nexus for Bonyth. So TerrOr is definitely in a sick position here, economically speaking, but he will have to, you know, as that Goliath kind of just walks around, checking the map out, you know, on vacation. Looks like TerrOr has the armory down, upgrades going for him, and building a 3rd command center as we speak. So the plan is being, you know, quickly revealed here for Terran. But Bonyth, I do wonder, is he going to go for carriers from this position?
Yeah, we know that Bonyth, of course, loves to go for the carriers, especially when he gets a slight lead. But this game, I don't think he has that slight lead that he's looking for. So, yeah, Citadel goes down for him. I don't see the cybernetic spinning either. So we're probably going to just have a normal gateway man, arbiter type of game. Meanwhile, Starport is starting for TerrOr, or almost done, actually. So he's going to be getting that +2 upgrade started pretty soon. His mineral-only command center also close to finishing, so he is going into the macro stage of this game, and supplies are pretty good for him. 80 to just 100 for Bonyth. That's not bad for Terran.
No. Oh, Pure Pat just slammed us with the $1,000. I've just been informed here. $1,000 from Pure Pat, man. Absolutely insane. I know him and CRBT have been absolutely crazy with the donations, among others. Of course, Terran Mallow, as we saw earlier today, was one of those donators for the BSL. I think he has donated like $1,000. So just crazy, 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 crazy support from the community. Thank you so much, guys. Obviously, BSL 13 is going to happen at some point in the future, thanks to you guys. So just incredible. Man, yeah, look at that, man. We are up at $5,800.
Yeah, we met the goal. So thank you guys so much for making BSL 13 happen. That will be exciting to see that after RCG. So I am very thankful that you guys did come through and make that happen. Now we are seeing TerrOr set up his mineral only. He's got that running. He has double armory coming in, so he's got those heavy upgrades coming in also. Meanwhile, Stargate did go down for Bonyth. I saw that, but with the Templar Archive, I think that I saw, this is going to be Arbiter play. Again, I didn't see the the Cybernetics is spinning. And is there an Archive there? Okay, I see Citadel, but there is no Archive.
Double Stargate here, but no Fleet Beacon. That's a Fleet Beacon for sure. Yeah. Okay.
This is actually a dangerous position for Bonyth because, you know, the power spike for Terran is 2-1. And +2 just started like 30 seconds ago. It takes 3 minutes to get +2. And that means that in 2.5 minutes, we're going to see TerrOr probably moving across the map now that we see this massive factory flood. And he scans the carriers, and carriers take a long time to build. Like, there's a real chance there's only going to be 2 carriers, and TerrOr doesn't care about 2 carriers. He just doesn't. He's just going to roll this over as long as he takes a good position in the fight.
Yeah, that's totally right, Nyokin. And it looks like TerrOr did scan that, so he knows exactly what's up. He's going to be able to make Goliaths in time. And this push is going to be exceedingly hard for Bonyth to stop. I mean, you know, he has been down economically the whole game. But, you know, strangely enough, I mean, this is the type of game that I would honestly expect Terran to be even in supply throughout the game, if not very close. And somehow Bonyth has managed to stay 30 supply ahead of TerrOr. So, you know, I actually think Bonyth is fine. We'll see if these carriers will be out on time. I mean, this is going to be a sick timing push, and these carriers are incredibly late. Like, Bonyth basically set himself up for an Arbiter build, but instead of Arbiters, he's waiting for 2 carriers, which is absolutely terrible. Generally, the carriers are built way before this time. Like, they're like at this point, Bonyth should have 2 carriers out and the third and fourth one making, but he only has 2 carriers on the way, so I don't know how he's going to hold on against this push.
Yeah, well, we see that TerrOr is slowly creeping up to 200 supply. There's a drop going to the 4th base of Bonyth, but he wisely turns around. Now, something that I have seen is a lot of players show the Stargate, show the carriers, and they only build a couple, and then they end up continuing to just build gateway units. And we did know or we do know that there is a forge in the main of Bonyth, so that might have been the plan, like debate Terran into building a lot of carriers. But if TerrOr really knows the timing of, or how long it takes to build carriers, he should not build more than 12 Goliaths. He doesn't need them because the carrier count is going to be so low. And if we do even see a gateway switch from Bonyth trying to catch the Terran overbuilding Goliaths, I think that going for 12, 10 Goliaths, something like that, that's not enough wasted supply, because Goliaths aren't the greatest versus ground, for kind of Protoss to swing it in his favor in a ground fight. And here comes that push, and as I stated, it has 2-1, and there's only 2 carriers.
That is triple Stargate carrier though, that can be scary, but if Bonyth loses any of his bases here, he's going to be hard pressed economically to continuously pump out interceptors or even carriers. Most likely he won't be able to afford to keep making everything that he's making, but for now we'll see how efficient TerrOr's push can be. This is only pure gateway units, no Templar. The double Reaver is kind of the only X factor here for this Protoss army, and TerrOr is just getting into position so quickly. Looks like Bonyth his only choice is to counter.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, just avoid it, just counter it, make the game weird, because that buys you time for the carriers, and that's all he needs. If he can get,
That's
you know, 8
Goliaths,
carriers,
though.
yeah, it's not, yeah, there's really not that many Goliaths. TerrOr kind of misstepped here. He underbuilt Goliaths. It's only 4. I don't know why he only has 4. As I stated, he needs like 12. But, okay, there's some at the 3rd base, but they're going to get chewed up by this gateway army, and we're going to be in a base trade scenario. We can see that Bonyth is supply blocked. So after these 5 carriers come out, he may not be able to produce more than that. But these 5 carriers wants to get out, because there's a lack of Goliath, should be able to actually clean this up. And that means that, well, what can TerrOr really do? Okay, his answer is he's going to just kill every single base and probably turn around afterwards.
Well, if TerrOr can kill the natural as well and this mid-right base, and the thing is, TerrOr is going, if he can hold on to his 2 bases, maybe he can do something here. If he can hold on to 12 o'clock, he will be ahead. Looks like carriers are starting to... Ooh, D-Matrix on that one Goliath, and I don't know, Bonyth is actually paying attention. No, he wasn't. He's going to lose a carrier outright to 3 Goliaths.
Okay, but TerrOr needs to turn around right now. Everything needs to go back, because this is actually a lot of supply to lose to carriers. It's like 25 supply. And, okay, well, it's all going to die now, because the carriers are just going to mow it down. But you can see that mid-right got taken out. TerrOr also needs to save those tanks. Vultures got into the main, and there's no defense there. The cannon, oh, there is a cannon. I thought that the Vultures were taking down those probes. But regardless, Bonyth not mining right now, but he still has a big bank. But you can see that supplies have dwindled heavily for both players, but there is a supply lead for TerrOr right now.
TerrOr has 12 o'clock, but he's not mining from it just yet. He needs... Ooh, okay.
He's built Goliath, man.
Man, there's no point in taking that ninja expand, man. That's not gonna help you, because that's 400 minerals he's not gonna be able to spend on just units, and all he needs now is units. If he just gets a control group of Goliaths plus maybe 18 or something, he will never die to these carriers. And Bonyth is on 0 econ. He's got nothing mining. Like, he's not mining. He has, like, his main is basically Dunzo, and all his other nexuses died, so he's gonna have to wait a while before starting to mine again. And TerrOr has the supply advantage, so he is in the lead here. But will he be able to kind of get an army, a significant enough army, to deal with these carriers? He's still making a lot of tanks. He needs Goliaths, man. That's all he needs right now. But with those 400 minerals going into that top right command center, that's what, like 4 fewer Goliaths to work with.
Yeah, this command center could backfire if he never gets critical mass Goliaths. But as I say that looks like it could be close to being critical mass, maybe about 10 or so Goliaths. My magic number for fighting carriers, if you want to be safe, is 4 Goliaths per carrier. So there's 4 out, so we need 16. But 3 is still a good number too if you have upgrades. So something like 12 is decent. Vultures get a connection onto a couple of the Zealots. That's great. Every single unit matters for both players right now. Now, what I'm wondering is whether TerrOr has +3 weapon. Because if he has +3 weapon, I don't see any world where Protoss wins this game. because Bonyth doesn't have upgrades on his carriers. I think he only has +1, and that's it. And +1 just flat out doesn't do damage. Okay, he has +2, so that's okay. But really, you need to have +3 versus +3, and probes are glitching out.
Yeah, I can't see TerrOr losing this game. Like, just 160 supply, sick upgrades. There's only 4 carriers. Yes, these carriers are gonna get a couple of kills here, but they are going to get whittled down. There's no econ for Protoss to build more carriers. There's no econ for Protoss to build anything. He barely has econ to build interceptors, let alone even gateway units or whatever. So it's just going to be so hard for Bonyth to claw back from this one, despite getting to having these blimps.
Well, the ground army is just too small now. It's a different scenario when there's enough ground to draw the attention of the Goliaths, but there's really not any sizable ground. And look at how fast these interceptors die to +3 weapon Goliaths. This is why Goliath upgrades are so important versus carriers, and he can literally run this over with pure Goliath. Doesn't even need tank. He's going to siege up for good measure, but this is going to be good by Protoss. Of course, Protoss is getting almost doubled in supply, so there's no chance of him winning the fight regardless. But this was very dangerous situation for TerrOr. I thought that the counterattack might win the game. Now the Reavers are in position on the mineral only. They're not firing though, and the Goliaths did take a decent shot from the Reavers, but with the first Reaver falling, second Reaver falling, this is probably going to be the killing blow. There's no interceptors left. Look at it, 0.
Yeah, 0 interceptors here. TerrOr is just marching on through. That's going to be it for game 2, man. TerrOr getting another win, 2-0. GG.
Yep, 2-0 win for TerrOr, and as I stated last season, TerrOr looked really good. If you just go to Liquipedia and you see the results 4-1, you're like, oh, Bonyth dominated. But not the case if you actually watch the games. So this time around, again, TerrOr's going to get off to a quick lead, and this has been masterful. Like, a lot of Terrans would fall apart to the counterattack, but he was able to multitask it very well. He took out every single base. He kept his composure. That was the key to success there, because if Bonyth keeps one of the bases, he gets a lot of econ. That carrier count that's at 4, not going to be at 4. It's going to be at 7, and that's a much dangerous situation. So nicely done from TerrOr. And this is not a situation you see versus Bonyth ever, right? Because he doesn't lose, especially versus Terran. So what's our third map going to be? It's going to be Blindside, and we've seen a lot of Terran players actually get a lot of bases on this map and have decent success. So this could be another good map for TerrOr.
Yeah, I mean, Blindside is...
However, this is a carrier map. 100%.
A good Terran map. But
not a good Terran map?
No, it's not. Well, I mean, it can be. I think the layout, it can be, but it's just so, like, the map is so, like, full of stuff that it's impossible to really move your units around, whereas when you have, like, flying units, they just kind of ignore everything. So overall, I would say if there weren't so many paths, if there weren't the vision blockers in the middle of the map, this map would easily be good for Terran. It'd be overpowered for Terran almost, if there wasn't, like, the side paths as well. But with just how much pathing there is in this map, and with just how annoying the middle of the map is, carriers especially are just incredibly strong.
Yeah, carriers should be ridiculous on this map, so it's not surprising to me that Bonyth picked this. But you know what we have seen is we have seen TerrOr go for an aggressive build 2 games in a row. And as I've stated multiple times, a lot of players get in this mode where they're like, okay, I'm going to cheese again because he doesn't expect me to cheese again. But this time around, I think actually if he cheeses again, despite how good Blindside is in the mid game or late game, I think it could backfire. I think Bonyth will be ready this time around, but as we've stated before, TerrOr can pull out anything. If he's going to go for something crazy, I want to see drops, because main is pretty big for drops, and that could be a good move from Terran. What did you... Okay, well, you're talking about how it's hard for Protoss, or hard for Terran if Protoss gets the carriers, but is there anything in the early game that makes it especially hard for Terran versus Protoss, or something difficult for Protoss in the early stages versus Terran?
Like, the one thing about this map, in my opinion, that's really good for Terran is that the rush distances are... Okay, no, that's bad. It's kind of like Benzene, honestly. This map is a lot like Benzene, and Benzene's an absolutely terrible Terran map. But, unlike Benzene, you can actually take a very close third base. And that's kind of what salvages it for Terran. But the early game is terrible because it's just hard to punish 12 Nexus. It's hard to deal with proxy gates, or it's hard to move your units between your main and your natural because of the eggs on the ramp there. So if you get Reaver harassed, I mean, that, I don't know, like proxy robo, whatever. And then in the late game, like, doing your 2-1 push, like, good luck. There's so many counterattack paths. The map is so big. And then if carriers are out, I mean, it's just so incredibly hard to deal with them. We'll have to see. You know, it seems so far that TerrOr just has a leg up on Bonyth, which is, I can't believe I'm saying this. But,
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I think we could see the robo opening from the proxy robo opening from Bonyth again, because it didn't really come to fruition in the first game, and Blindside is another map where you can proxy all over the place, and then the main's completely wide open, just like how Cross is. So I think we could see that again from Bonyth, but that's so risky when you're down 2-0. If you throw that game, now you're down 3-0, and even though Bonyth is a killer versus Terran, you're never feeling too good where you have to reverse sweep to come back in a series, especially when it's best of 7. If it's best of 5 or something, maybe 3 wins is manageable. But yeah, I don't know about winning 4 in a row. That's a bit nuts. But we are ready, guys. We're going to get into Game 3. It's going to be on Blindside. I can't believe it. TerrOr's playing so well today, and this could be potentially setting up for a 3-0, and maybe this could be a quick 4-0, potentially 4-1 something series. Let's get into Game 3, see if Bonyth can start making his comeback. So in the top middle, our Terran player up 2-0. It is TerrOr.
And their Protoss player in the
shenanigans.
Well, this is Bonyth. And on a map like this, on a two-player map. So okay, guys, you ready? This is usually I would charge for this type of coaching, but you guys get it for free on the BSL cast.
Get your
two-player maps,
out.
right? There's a specific design. You have to have a specific design for two-player maps. 4-player maps, you can have variance in rush distances because the scouting accounts for that. Sometimes you scout first, sometimes you scout last. So you can have bases that are closer together. 2-player maps in general must have longer rush distances to balance for possible cheese strats. Now, because this is a 2-player map, PvT, go-to builds are always proxy gate, gas steals, or 12 Nexus. There's really no reason to play any other way. That's why you see it on Eclipse, it's very standard. On Benzene, it's very standard. That's just how Protoss needs to play to take advantage of a map like this. And knowing where the Terran spawns, just so crucial. But this is going to be a wall in.
Yeah, I thought he was going to build a complete wall right next to the depot. As I've never played this map, I'm not sure if Depot Racks is a complete wall. But if it is, the game would have been done already. Well, not done, but Bonyth would have been in a bad position because he's building that gateway so far forward. Now, I have to say, this probe is kind of moving in an unusual fashion. Also, it moved quite slow. It didn't even attempt to get to the gas, which is always something I pay attention to as a Terran player, because that means that there's probably a proxy gate here, and he wasn't intending to gas steal me. So Pylon needs to block this depot at the natural, or at the main, I mean, because I think this might be a full wall.
Yeah, well, the gas is kind of, you know, the other part of this map is that TerrOr is lucky he didn't spawn at 6 o'clock, because this is, you get gas stolen on top of getting proxied easily. This is the better map, the better position for Terran to spawn at. Full wall here, but the ramp is just so weird on this map that if TerrOr just parks a Dragoon there... No, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was going to say he is the Flash, because if you guys ever watch Flash, Flash's SCVs always bounce in favor of him. And that SCV is so low, it should have gotten one-shotted by this Zealot. And of course it gets in the main.
Yeah, and with the full wall here... I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen a ramp like this. So I'm not sure how to evaluate this, because, you know, we're thinking about a map like Gladiator, right? Where it's reverse ramp. You almost never want to play like this to have a depot wall, because the Protoss just gets to camp your high ground with Dragoons. Now, here there's no high ground to camp, so maybe that's not, maybe it's good to actually just go for this type of wall all the time. Proxy factory.
Okay, we've got a proxy second factory, and you can see that Bonyth knows there's something hidden because he's scouting all over the map. Unfortunately for him, it's on the right side, and that pylon block did not really do anything, because you can go for a bust onto that gateway with just going for Marine and Vultures. Now, there is going to be proxy something. Is this going to be the proxy robo that I was expecting to see? Zealot is holding strong here, but you got to be confused. Where's the goon at this point?
Yeah, the goon should be out. Well, there it is. It's coming now. We'll kill this first Vulture.
Will it though? He's getting range. It doesn't. Okay, it barely gets that Vulture.
Yeah, now this Dragoon can kind of sit here and kill, well, hit the bunkers at least, but, or the depots. Those aren't bunkers. But I guess TerrOr, like, honestly, that's what his depots could be. Like, imagine a StarCraft game where the depots are also your bunkers.
The depots are also your bunkers.
And then they also burrow into the ground. And then you can also salvage them for 100% of the resources.
He found the factory, and that's massive. Because he doesn't have an add-on there, he can only build Vultures. Oh, but Vultures get into the main of Bonyth, and there's going to be a second one coming. And meanwhile, this allows the tank and Marine to get out onto the map. Now, as I stated earlier that I thought this was going to be a proxy robo game, it has started at top left. This SCV, I thought it was actually going to sit on the ramp and try and deny the goon from getting into position. Now the goon manages to sneak out. This is a wild game already. He draws the goon out of position at the main, but there's luckily two more sitting at the natural. Gonna deny this.
Yeah, robotics there. Looks like support bait only now going down 530. So this is kind of a replay from the Taucross game almost. This robotics is proxied, but the Reaver is gonna be so late, and I think that's because Bonyth has just continuously pumped Dragoons out. It delays your, obviously, your robotics play, and you generally, you know, I'm not gonna lie, but off a proxy gate, you generally don't follow it up with a proxy robo, especially if you didn't gas steal. So probably not the best choice of builds here from Bonyth, and I think he's just gonna die.
I don't know, because this time around there's more goons, and okay, well, you can't take any damage from these Vultures, and I think it's harder to move out. Again, there's no natural, and again, TerrOr should be thinking like, okay, why is there no natural? But instead he's built a command center. I think that could be the game-ending mistake for him. He needs that eBay, because once the Reaver gets in, there's no defense. We know that even one of the factories is proxied, so that can't help him with any of the defense. So he needs to make this attack work. Otherwise, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, really. Second gate coming down in the main for Bonyth. Holding this position is so critical for him. I'm surprised. Okay, there. Now TerrOr's realized that, hey, why is there nothing on the map? And now he's searching, but it's way too late.
Yeah, well, obviously he knows something's up. There's no Nexus. But it's just so weird to get proxy roboed as well at a different location too than the gateway was at, because that takes another depot or another pylon to be built. Here comes the shuttle at TerrOr's main. There's no defense. eBay is almost done, but turrets are never going to be built here. They're not, I mean, they're not anywhere near being built. This Reaver killing 2 SCVs so far, not the greatest of damage. 2 command centers. No. Oh, it's so hard with the wall, with the eggs, with the ramp. Look at those tanks, man. They're just, yeah, they're just having a fun time there. Finally getting through that ramp, but it's impossible, really, here to defend this Reaver, because those tanks are just getting stuck on these eggs, man. Why are there eggs on this ramp?
Oh, yeah, you can see that it's extremely hard to get through. That tank is running for its life, but it's going to get taken down by the Reaver eventually. It's trying to get out of range, not able to, and this is unfortunate for TerrOr, and if you're a Bonyth fan, obviously you're loving it. Yeah, the tank is still glitching out at the natural.
Just glitching. Just can't defend against this type of play, man, especially with the depots as well, but finally Siege Mode finishes, and TerrOr does get back with most of his units. Looks like without the second Reaver, I'm assuming there's a second Reaver on the way here. But Bonyth not yet going back to the robotics to pick it up. Now it's probably okay. No, still microing.
Oh no, both of those tanks are low, so a big hit could take down both. Oh, he's so close to firing.
Oh my god, it just shot the gas!
Oh my gosh, that's a missed opportunity, and the Reaver does not get any. Well, I think he got one tank kill. And behind this, Bonyth does not have his Nat up and running just yet. But TerrOr oh, he's gonna run through a turret. He didn't realize it was there, and the Marines are also shooting. Can he take it down? He does. I can't believe that Reaver falls. Now TerrOr instantly needs to get rid of those eggs. Like those have to go. He's been alleviated pressure. Whether he kills the robo or whatever, eggs have to be taken out.
You don't hear that every day, dude. Kill those eggs. They're blocking your ramp. Well, finally, the thing is they're on high ground too, so it takes even longer to kill them. I mean, they're on high ground from both sides. It's just one tank that can, like, there's only one unit that can shoot them, and that's the one that's on top of the ramp. So it's actually really funny looking at this. I'm kind of laughing on the inside, but not the greatest of laughs. Robotics, they're still up. It does get, I mean, TerrOr knows it's there, but there's no way for Terran to really go all the way around. Like that's like, you can proxy a robo there almost any time as Protoss, and you will never lose it. It's impossible to lose it. Like, this is just it's literally impossible for Terran to go all the way around to kill this. So definitely smart from Bonyth to place a robotics there. And it looks like now TerrOr is just going to accept that the robotics is there. This, again, the main is so wide open. He needs a lot of turrets to cover this.
Yeah, main is huge. This is like Tau Cross levels of width in your base. Now, a decent chunk of goons have moved across the map, but tanks and turrets all over the place, not going to be able to find any hole to get through. Meanwhile, Bonyth finally completes his natural, so he's going to transfer those workers over there and start building up his econ. You can see supplies are still pretty much even. That turret's not going to fall to this Reaver harassment, and that shuttle has speed upgrade. So this was a big committal from Bonyth to go for this and then also lose his first Reaver.
Yeah, well, Bonyth only now getting his Nexus here at the natural very, very late. And, you know, it's just really hard. You gotta double expand in this situation almost always as Protoss. I'm surprised he's not going for that third Nexus, and to be honest, even if he were to go for Stargates, it's just the tech is too late. I mean, he could. Protoss either goes for third Nexus or straight into Stargates, but Bonyth is not really doing either of those things just yet.
Yeah. Actually, TerrOr's the one going for the double expand because he's got his... I was wondering what's going on. Why don't we see another Nexus? Why do we have gas at our natural? And there's the reason, because this is triple. It gets instantly scanned. It couldn't have been a better scan timing. And now TerrOr is going to know, like, okay, well, I have about 5 minutes before there's actually, you know, 4 carriers, which is kind of, you know, when it can kind of get dicey. Really, 6 is the number you want. So he's got 5 minutes where he can pretty much do whatever he wants. Sure, he has to be worried about Reaver Goon at his entrance, but it's not that scary of an army. We may see something like an 8 or 9 factory flood from him, because I know he has that in his arsenal. If you look at the gas count right now, he has enough to build 5 factories, and there's the first one.
Well, he has a lot of time there. You got to feel really good as Terran scanning that Stargate so late into the game. Basically, TerrOr has already the 3rd command center here, so you know there's only really one course of action here for Terran, and it's just when you're Terran, right? Like, you cannot. He's already on this 3 command center plan. He cannot commit to going for a faster push, so he just needs to establish his 3rd base, get 2-1 upgrades, and then go for the push. There's really no other ways around it. So the game plan is clear. He has a lot of time to do that, but it's just so incredibly hard. We'll have to see how well he executes the push once he gets into it, but I feel like as the game is played out here, Bonyth is going to be able to get into that 4 carrier count, and we'll see if TerrOr can kind of push his way into victory at that point, but it is tricky on this map.
Yeah, and we see that the upgrade for Bonyth is already pretty much done for +1 weapon, so this time he's got a much faster upgrade time. He's going to be starting that +2. And because TerrOr has opted to go for more factories, he's not going to have +2 weapon. He's not going to have, you know, high armor upgrades coming in. So this is a decent position for Bonyth the longer he can stall the game out. Oh, actually there is a starport, so it's not going to be 8 factories like I thought. It's just going to be 5, and then followed up with the starport and science facility. But you can see +1 weapon is already done, which is why I'm surprised so much to see the starport come out. I guess TerrOr's decided that this is the better move. He's got his 3rd command center about to land though, but TerrOr's going to see the bad news, but that 3rd nexus is already up and running for Bonyth.
Yeah, Bonyth is inching his way back into this game. This 3rd command center from TerrOr came down so late. He actually lost quite a lot of units to that shuttle and double reaver, but it is hard because you have to secure your main base against possible shuttle plays. Like, that's not necessarily, well, as soon as you scan the Stargates, you should know there's most likely not going to be double, triple shuttle play coming in. But until that point, you have to take your time to really make sure your main is defended, because it's just such a huge main, and the shuttles can come from so many angles. That can maybe explain why this 3rd command center was delayed, but overall, like, TerrOr's tempo has fallen here, and I mean, he's still going to have a solid 2-1 timing, no doubt about that, and he still has a lot of time to get that going. But just looking at this right now, it's not looking too promising, and Bonyth is going to be able to play this out. And honestly, guys, late game, if Protoss gets into more carriers, it's just it's so hard on this map.
This 2-1 timing is late. You can see that the facility's not done, and that means that it's...
Oh my god, never mind. Yeah,
as soon as it completes, it's 3 minutes to get +2. So I think carriers are like about 1.5 minutes to build, something like that. That means there's at least going to be 6, at least, and we already know 2 have already completed. So really, it's probably going to be something like 8. And my opinion is, once it gets to 8, well, you're kind of just praying that Protoss botches the carrier movement or something, and we know that's not going to happen from Bonyth. So this is a dire situation for TerrOr. He's going to have really insane engagements, and I just don't know how he's going to do it. Now, you can see that the ground army doesn't have any upgrades for Protoss, so this could be one way where TerrOr takes an amazing fight, because if you have +0 versus +1 armor Terran, I mean, things just don't die. Like, they just don't take any damage. So this could be one way that TerrOr gets back into this game.
Yeah, but carriers already have +1 attack, and +2 is on the way faster than the 2-1 from Terran. 4 carriers are out, 6 are out. You would have expected Terran to push out at that 4 carrier mark. You know, that 4 carriers is when Terran needs to hit with that 2-1 and 160, 170 supply. This time around in this game, for some reason, TerrOr is really struggling to get his build going, and now you can notice that TerrOr feels like he doesn't have tempo on the map, so he needs to move the Goliaths to defend his main base. But as soon as you do that, the game's like, what is Terran doing? He's just kind of sitting around in his base, and Protoss getting more bases on this map. You have to push against carriers. You cannot play passively. You cannot let Protoss get up to a bajillion bases on either side of the map with the control group of carriers. It is literally impossible for Terran to win in that situation. So I don't know. I think TerrOr already lost his opportunity here. I can't see a way for him to push out in time and punish this.
Well, as I mentioned, the upgrades for Protoss really lacking, and because TerrOr already has +1 armor, this is going to be a 2-2 timing. It's not going to be 2-1 anymore, so that's going to make his units that sturdier. Oh, is that not upgrading? Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, he did not get that second. Well, I'm hoping that's the armor upgrade that got missed. There are times that sometimes I play, and I'm like, oh, I got 2-1 coming, and then I realize, oh, I don't, because I accidentally got armor instead of weapon. So hopefully that's not the case. You can see TerrOr has a supply lead, but carrier is so cost effective, it's going to be an uphill battle for him. You can see Reaver is even blocking the 4th base. One way to battle carriers is to just have, you know, flat out more econ than him. But that's not the case for TerrOr. He has to trade. Super cost effective, but carriers are already in position, and they're
Oh my
overlooking the main even.
How are you ever going to get out of your base's Terran now? Because carriers in this position, they can hit your main base, and then they can hit your main army when you push out and go back and forth, and then the Protoss units can kind of disengage while the carriers fly back into your main. It's literally, he's just dead. I mean, even if you look at the supply, you're like, okay, this isn't too bad for Terran. I mean, he is, somehow Protoss is behind in supply, which is kind of confusing to me, but it just positionally, tactically, it's a nightmare to deal with this, especially on this map. Like, look at how the units have to hook around to come outside of the base. It's just, even on Benzene, actually, this is a huge problem if ever you get into that type of situation, which you basically never should because the game is over. But when the carriers have access to your main base, and then they can just kind of pivot and defend your main push as well, like, it's just a nightmare. It's literally unplayable for Terran. So TerrOr's just stuck here. I can't see him making his way out. He's probably going to go for the thing is, even if he commits to a push, then his factories are just wide open. Like, he won't be able to make more units.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides of having this ledge so close to your factories. But now carriers are going to try and engage in the center of the map. As you pointed out, a lot of the Goliaths are in the main, but you can see that the carriers were not able to kill that many tanks. And as I stated, the Protoss ground army is really weak. It only has +1 weapon versus 2-1. There's a decent amount of units kind of defending this drop that doesn't exist anymore, and we may see an engagement coming in pretty soon. Both players are basically maxed. Bonyth has +2 weapon on his carriers. As you mentioned, there's a lot of, up and down all over the place, lack of vision, but so far, I think TerrOr's doing a decent job. Supplies are pretty much still even at this point. What I'm most worried about now isn't even necessarily the carriers killing the main. It's, you don't have a 4th base as Terran. Oh, he caught the carriers!
Yeah, and Bonyth doesn't actually have Templar. That's the one thing that's really missing from his composition. If he had Storm, but now he's going to start, and the thing is, as soon as these Terran Goliaths get whittled down, it's going to get exponentially harder for Terran to fight this. But so far, I mean, look, there's just vision blockers here. Like, there's a high ground, then there's vision blockers, and there's another high ground, and everything's kind of congesting together. But it looks like TerrOr is finding his way into the middle of the map, and I'm telling you, man, this is Flash. It's not TerrOr, it's not Terran, it's the 4th race. He's making this happen, but now another ramp here, another high ground. It's not going to help Terran at all, and most of his units are in the vision blockers. He doesn't have, like, a vessel with this. It's all kind of crazy situation.
TerrOr's floating a ton of money. If he did, like, 2 or 3 cycles of units, he would still be near max, and he would still have a bank, but he's breached the 4th base, and he might be able to take this down. As you can see, the lack of vision is really, really punishing. But those carriers don't have that many interceptors anymore. Look at them. There's really not that many flying out. Sure, he's picking off some chunks of tanks, but +3 is going to be kicking in for TerrOr pretty soon. And now the probes even have to be evacuated. And what I'm noticing here is the ground army is not together with the carriers. If there's ever a scan from TerrOr, like right now, he can catch these carriers.
Well, without Storm, I mean, you need Storm. Like, you definitely need something else, like whether it's Arbiters or whether it's Storm. Generally, obviously, it's Storm if you open straight into carriers. But if it's just a ground army, Dragoon, Zealot, as you mentioned, he doesn't have Forge upgrades, right? So they don't even do damage here. Somehow, some way, even though Gypsy, again, doesn't know what he's talking about, calling the games early and wrong, TerrOr finds his way across the map.
This is the overextension that Bonyth needed, because now these units are isolated and this 3rd base is almost mined out. This is what Bonyth needed to get back into this game. Look, it's mined out. This is a dead base. Didn't need to make this move. And now he's going to lose all of his tanks, all of his Goliaths, and behind this, TerrOr does not have a 4th base, so he's pretty much all in with this. You can see supplies have plummeted for him down to 144, and he has no tanks behind this. What is that, 4? And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. At some point, Terran needs to kind of slow the pace down and start expanding, because once you trade like this and you lose kind of your your critical breakpoint or whatever in terms of army composition, it's really hard to claw your way back. And now at this supply, you just can't contest the carriers anymore. And he doesn't have a 4th base, doesn't have a 5th base. He mined everything out. On this map, the 3rd base actually has only 1,000 minerals per mineral patch, and there's only 6 patches. And there's only 3k gas there, so it's really kind of like not even an expansion.
Well, as I stated, that overextension was the game changer, and now this fleet of 9 carriers really cannot be matched. There's too much of a supply lead at this point. Lost all the tanks too. That means the ground army can't even die because the Goliaths are busy shooting the interceptors. Also, as I stated, there's no 4th base, so this is going to be Bonyth taking game 3. He's going to bring it back to 2-1. But a dangerous situation, again, it's kind of similar to Sylphid last season where again, it was an overextension really that cost him that game. Now, I don't think that it necessarily cost TerrOr this game because I still think Bonyth was in a good position, but the 3rd base was mined out. We really needed to just turn around there. There was nothing to gain from killing that base.
Yeah, but here's the thing also, like, if you don't push there and you fall back to try and expand, then Protoss also has more time to build up to 8 carriers to start adding Templar. So I get the feeling that I understand why TerrOr felt pressed to attack, but without expansions, you will run out of gas as Terran. You almost always will. And even though in the early engagements it looked really good for Protoss, or for Terran rather, because the carriers just weren't able to get their DPS out, there's just so many Goliaths to chew through. Over time, as the Terran pushes through the middle of the map, as carriers come in and rebuild their interceptors, because obviously it's just, the point is it's easier to replace interceptors than it is to replace Goliaths, right? And once you tip that critical mass of Goliaths down to not being able to deal with the interceptors, it's just like a snowball effect. You instantly lose and you can't go back, you can't get back into the game. That's exactly what happened in that game there. And so probably TerrOr, after killing that base, should have just retreated, but the problem is that he never had the infrastructure behind that in terms of 4th and 5th base. He was mined out already. So even if he retreats there into he's totally mined out on 3 bases. So really tough situation.
Yep. Okay, we're going to go into a break now. We're going to come back in just a few minutes and then get into game 4, so don't go anywhere. But the back turret ends up getting up. However, that turret does die, and look at that, he's in the sweet spot again.
Valkyrie is out. It's going to thwart away these Mutalisks, though, just in time. Did lose a decent amount of SCVs, though.
Yeah, but look at these Mutalisks sharking around inside of Ultra's base. There's no vessel with this attack, and actually he killed the vessel!
Yes, he killed the vessel, and those Valkyries were not here. They were just trying to support the army. Meanwhile, Ultra did find those lurkers. Okay, they did get resituated. I like that sunken out in front. It's not intending to deal any damage. It's just to delay the push as long as possible, because as soon as he gets the cloud out, this push is done. That's all he has to do is buy time for Dark Swarm. Meanwhile, we've got a massive Ling lurker attack coming through the back, but there's not that many lurkers. Okay, lurkers from the top side, and they're gonna shoot a lot of the Marines. Oh my god, it's gonna be devastating. All of the Marines fall to those 3 lurker shots, and this timing that Ultra went for got obliterated.
Yeah, it's donezo.
Maybe the dropships can do something, but it's only 2. If this was like 4 dropships, I'm a believer, but the fact that it's only 2, I don't think it's enough. Things are already moving into position. This time around, Ziki doesn't have any lurkers set up anywhere, but the Lings already have adrenaline. You can see the dropship unload and just instantly dies, trying to get into that gypsy spot in the back, but it doesn't matter. Lings are going to run that over also. Welcome back, guys. We're about to get into Game 4. Bonyth managed to take Game 3, so the score is now 2-1 in favor of TerrOr. 3-0 would have been a very hard position for Bonyth, so nicely done by him to get a win there. But TerrOr had opportunities to make that a 3-0 potentially, so he should still be feeling pretty good about his chances in this series. We're going to be going into Game 4 momentarily. This time it's going to be TerrOr's pick, and he has decided to pick that blue Shakura's Plateau map.
Yeah, Shakura's Plateau, man. That is a great map for Terran in both StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2.
So what do you think makes it so good for Terran versus Protoss? You've always talked about the rush distances, Terran versus Zerg, but why TVP is that a good map?
Because it's just, there's a lot of bases for Terran to work with. Like, Terran, honestly, what it needs to function late game is 3 bases. And if you can just continuously take one more expansion to fuel your army, you will just roll over Protoss eventually. And this game, I mean, this map, it's really centered around the middle. And Terran has an easy time just focusing on one part of the map, on the middle part of the map. So players are ready. Let's get right into it. Game number 4 between these two titans.
Alrighty, in the top left, bringing back a game in Game 3, it is Bonyth.
Top right, it is TerrOr in that silver Terran.
Yeah, so we've got horizontal magenta, of course. So we've got horizontal spawns this time around. I really like TerrOr spawns into this position. There's no direct access for Bonyth to go for Reaver on here, like straight to the main. It is a pretty easy defensive position for TerrOr. It's also going to allow him to expand vertically and be away from the Protoss player, so this is a good spawn for him. Meanwhile, we see that Bonyth on the left side, no forward gate or anything. We actually haven't seen that all series long. I'm a bit surprised at that we haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, I am also a bit surprised. We'll see this time around, though. Bonyth has been playing a bit aggressively in these games, but I mean, so has TerrOr. I wonder if TerrOr is going to go back to the 2 factory here or use this opportunity. I mean, this map is just so good for Terran. In that late game situation, that it would be kind of a missed opportunity for TerrOr to throw that away, and no gas so far.
Yeah, this could be indicative of the gasless expand, but we do know that TerrOr loves to go for either a 13 or 14 gas, put 1 on gas, and then go for the delayed command center, and that looks like most likely what we're going to see. Meanwhile, we are checking back into Bonyth's base. It's not going to be a Zealot before the Cybernetics. Cybernetics comes in. Luckily, this time around, Bonyth is going to find TerrOr in the first position. SCV comes in to try and block, but that is a wide ramp. It's really hard to prevent a worker from getting in. And Bonyth is going to see that again. This is just a typical gas opener. Well, maybe not, because he's already pulled off of gas, so he knows that this is going to be a fast command center follow-up.
Yeah, but does Bonyth really know this? I mean, you know, it's not like he can do anything about it. But, you know, of course, when the SVs are off gas and there's no factory, you should know exactly what's happening. TerrOr gets the first scout, so he is allowed to basically go for a Rax expand. Zealot is out. TerrOr, I think, might have clipped it. It's really important for him to see the Zealot because he can't stop Marine production good. He's getting the bunker there. Very safe play, and behind that will get a command center. So definitely a good spot to be in as Terran.
Yeah, and this Zealot shouldn't get really much damage done. 3rd Marine even coming out. It does, you know, kind of mess up TerrOr's build a little bit because he doesn't want to build any extra Marines if he doesn't have to. Command center is going to come down. Floated Rax is moving into position to wall it off. Zealot spots the command center, but really he didn't even have to because he knew that the gas was just, you know, he pulled off of gas way too early. Now this is interesting. What's that probe intending to do? Well, looks like he kind of just misrallied it and now fixes it.
Yeah, well, he is going to expand here. Actually getting a pylon, which to me seems like, you know, there's a couple of things that you can do. Oh, Citadel level doing okay.
Oh,
I was
there
gonna
we
say,
go.
like, that made no sense for that pylon to go down, actually. Unless he was planning on going for a bunch of Dragoons at the front, but this is going to be kind of a delayed DT. The problem for Bonyth is that this isn't a DT after Nexus, so it's a lot harder to kind of hide this. And TerrOr with the rescout most likely will notice that there is no Nexus just yet at 4 minutes and 20 seconds, which is really late. I mean, okay, never mind.
This is a questionable.
Yeah.
This is a questionable Nexus timing, because if you watch my
There's
stream,
no range
always,
here though.
Yeah, there's no range. I always talk about how if you see a Nexus past 420, it's a weird game already, and you need to build that eBay, and that's exactly what TerrOr's doing.
Yeah.
So Bonyth, oh
And
man,
he
this
sees.
is.
I mean, he sees. Wait, what
Okay,
range finish?
He does have range, yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
this is just gonna be a slowish DT, but DTs take a while to build. It takes a while to get across the map. However, eBay is not the fastest building to make either. It's like 45 seconds and about 20 seconds for a turret. And this might just be enough of a window for this DT to run in.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I don't
we'll
think
have
so.
we'll have to see here. I mean, it takes forever for the DT to walk across. Well, DTs actually build really slowly and also walk pretty slowly. So turret is gonna be up, and there's 3 Marines in that bunker. Hopefully it goes up to 4, because sometimes when the bunker is too lightly loaded, you can kind of just dive past it and maybe kill the turret. But with 3 Marines, I mean, that should be more than enough. You know, if I'm Terran in the situation, definitely want to make that 4th Marine as well, because I know something's up. But somehow these 2 Dragoons are getting a lot of value. I mean, 1 tank should easily ward off 2 Dragoons, especially if your bunker has more than 2 Marines in it. Here comes the DT. Turret is up, though. Yeah, that was really unfortunate for Bonyth. But at the same time, TerrOr has to kind of shift his approach here, because he was planning to go for that 3 tank push, but without scans he can no longer do that. But I mean, you could just get into vultures here and take a 3rd base.
Yeah, this is brutal for Bonyth because he delayed his Nexus so much to get the DT, and then it did no damage. And he's going for Robo follow-up also, and this was all before, really, he got his Nexus up and running at his natural. So this is a big commitment from Bonyth. If he wants to take this game, he needs to make something happen with the DTs. Like, TerrOr is somebody that will flood factories when he realizes he has a small advantage, and he has a massive advantage now with the command center being much faster, and also knowing that it was a DT opener that did no damage. Yeah, he's no second guess. This is going to be a 5 factory attack, I think. He's just going to bring it to Bonyth, and Bonyth is going to be in a world of hurt. You can see that he's worried about an attack. He knows who he's playing against, so he's going into 4 gate.
But you need a second gas, though, like...
Well, you do, but he could build it now and just cut tanks and put down more factories. But maybe he's not going to go into 5 factory. Maybe he's just going to go expand behind this.
Yeah. Well, looks like that 3rd factory is done. TerrOr getting a couple of minerals in his bank might throw down a command center. And just as you mentioned, Bonyth actually expects that to be the case for some kind of factory flood, and he's responding with 6 gates off of 2 base. You never see this.
Yeah, this is... Wow, 6 gates, that's crazy. If TerrOr scans this and sees that it's 6 gate with, you know, no arbiter or anything, he just sits there and camps, and he's fine. But this is going to be the dream scenario for Bonyth, because TerrOr is actually moving out, and it's not a factory flood, it's just 3. So 3 factories, from my experience, don't beat 6 gateway, but we'll see if the vultures can get any mine connection. Remember, vultures do full damage to shields, so even though they're not... mine almost triggers, and... Actually, TerrOr's right outside of his entrance. If he builds a bunker here, this is going to be so hard to push out of.
Yeah, and kind of surprising there, because TerrOr really shouldn't be able to get across the map without getting spotted. I mean, Bonyth made 2 DTs and just stopped making DTs altogether. Definitely could have used an extra 2 DTs to stop this push, or at least to slow it down. You know, you use this comm set and then you see it's coming, but looks like TerrOr is just going to get a contain off.
Oh, does that shuttle have speed? I'm not sure if it does.
No.
Okay, it doesn't. But Zealot Bomb is coming in, and there's no Goliaths here. Their turrets are kind of a little far away from the tank. And, okay, Mine gets triggered, but does not connect onto the Zealot. And you can see that the bunker is up. And Protoss is in big time trouble. Even though supplies are closed, we don't know if something like speed is coming in. And if it's not, that's going to be a long time away. But what I'm getting worried about from TerrOr is he hasn't made a decision. Is he going Starport, getting his upgrades? Is he going 5 fact? Is he building a command center? 3 fact, I mean, I don't know how you beat 6 gates, but this contain is super strong.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how you beat 6 gates and you build a bunch of depots, but it's too late now. Zealot's already with his speed, just ramming through this contain, and I mean, it's just not enough Terran units. As you mentioned, Nyokin, I am also a bit surprised there was no depots, there's no wall, just a bunch of bunkers, but he didn't even have that many Marines there in the first place, so...
The Vultures at the Nat, how much damage have they done? They're still alive, right? Yeah, there's still 1 alive. Somehow it only has 3 kills, so not as much damage as I thought. And Bonyth easily cleans up that attack, despite how strong it looked. Vultures getting more kills, 5, 6. That Goon in hold position is... Okay, it finally gets taken out by a second Goon, but there's the answer. I guess there is an armory starting +1, but I don't see a starport. I don't know what that is. Okay, it's a command center. He's just going to expand behind this.
Go TerrOr, you are amazing. Latino pride.
Well,
TerrOr RS Sun.
I mean, Terran should still be in a good situation here because Protoss, honestly, making that contain happen with just 3 factories is kind of insane, and he killed so many probes, but this is a good transition for Bonyth actually if he were to go straight into Arbiters. Looks like TerrOr behind this, still only on 3 factories. His command center is on the way, so looking to expand. But, I mean, Protoss's build is a bit stagnated because he had to go for all those gates, and then losing the probes really kind of hurts. And honestly, just having a bunch of Dragoons doesn't really do much for you. And, you know, Protoss, again, when you have delayed Nexuses, it's just really hard to get ahead. So, the expansion timings are going to be similar. What's good for Bonyth is that it doesn't seem that TerrOr has healthy upgrades, where 11 minutes in +1 is not done. So the Terran scaling is a bit delayed, and because of that, Bonyth going straight into carriers. Now this map is absolutely terrible for carriers.
Well, when Terran doesn't have any upgrades, carriers, it doesn't really matter what the map is.
Sure.
They're just going to chew through everything. We didn't see an instant scan this time around from TerrOr to determine whether this is going to be Arbiters or carriers. As a Terran player, I'm watching this and like it has to be Arbiters, but it's Bonyth, so it kind of almost always has to be carriers. We do see that the 3rd Nexus went down for Bonyth at mid-left, as you mentioned, matching expo timings pretty much, but not complete just yet. TerrOr has a small supply lead for now. It's 112 to 100, but still Bonyth is in an okay position.
Yeah, Bonyth is in an okay position because he will, I mean, because of just the upgrades that are lacking from Terran, but and these factories are also late. I mean, we're still only on 4 factories, so 6 factories coming in now, 5th and 6th one being built. Dropship out. See if TerrOr can do some harassment here with this dropship, but you know, it's hard to say. I mean, under normal circumstances, like the Protoss's economy is really bad. I mean, it's really bad relative to where it should be compared to the Terran. But when you don't have upgrade timings like TerrOr does in this game, Terran's just not as strong.
Well, this time around, now that he sees the carriers, I hope that he ends up going into the factory flood with 1-1. 1-1 would be a much stronger timing, even though last game on Blindside, okay, there it is, there's going to be a lot of factories. Even though on Blindside, TerrOr was, you know, pushing potentially for victory with his overwhelming amount of Goliaths. He's kind of getting caught over an extension, but still Bonyth is in a fine position. But if TerrOr was to attack right when 1-1 hits, or 2-1 actually, does he have 2-1 towing? I thought he had +1 pretty late. But if he was to attack right when 2-1 or 1-1 completes, I think there's only going to be 2 carriers out, like we talked about on Polypoid. So this is a bit dangerous. And Bonyth, okay, now he started up his 3rd and 4th carrier. So maybe he'll have 4, but he's definitely not going to have 6.
Yeah, well, this time around, Bonyth also has Templar, which is definitely going to help him in those fights. You saw on Blindside, he had a really difficult time engaging into the Terran in that early stage. Of course, Terra did run out of steam eventually, but this time around, he will have access to Storm, which is so strong in conjunction with carriers. And it might be enough to help him get into this transition here. 4th base, not quite up for Bonyth just yet. The pylon is going down there, and he isn't really massing up the 400 minerals, but I mean, I'm kind of worried for Bonyth though. The supply is looking really healthy for Terran. A head in supply is almost unheard of, even against carriers. So if Terra just hits this timing, whether it's 1-1, 2-1, just attack with a decent amount of Goliaths, he should be able to overrun Protoss.
Well, we saw last game, even though he had a killer army, Terra just didn't have the 4th base. So this time around, I think that is a 4th command center going down at the Nata bottom right, maybe? Or, okay, at the main, main and Nat. So this time around, even if his attack fails, he's going to have big econ behind it. Meanwhile, first 2 carriers are out for Bonyth. He needs to get out, really he needs to get out 4 more, but 2 more would still be okay since he has a lot of AoE in those Templars. This time around, Protoss already has +1 weapon, so +2 should be coming pretty soon. And +2 is a big power spike for Protoss, especially when Terran only one has +1 armor. So this is going to be a much better scenario for Bonyth. Let's see how well he can trade here.
That's just a massive Terran army though, and he has a healthy amount of Goliaths. That's only 2 carriers. It's just not enough carriers to... They're just dead supply, those carriers are. They really do nothing. It's all up to whether or not Bonyth can land storms, but it's gonna be so hard being down this supply. 4 carriers finally joining in, the 2 additional carriers that is, but even with 4 carriers, I just don't think it's gonna be quite enough. That tank drop genius from Terra will put on a lot of harassment. It looks like Bonyth cannot mine from this base, and it's gonna definitely tax his attention. He's actually moving all of his carriers out of position, and Terra is gonna go straight for the main base with this opportunity. Let's see how he chooses to approach this. Bonyth with a counterattack like he did on fighting, or what is it, Polypoid. It's like Terra instead gonna pull back.
Yeah, and you can see that Terra smartly is setting up a mine surround, and this is exactly what you should do in this scenario. Great storm on a couple of the tanks right there, and actually Terra's fighting up onto high ground, or into high ground. That means that his units are not going to be registering as much damage as they could have, but is there just flat out too much Terran? Supplies are dangerously even, and that's okay. This army is going to be pushed back. +2 should be kicking in pretty soon for Terran, maybe like a minute or so from now. Oh, it already kicked in, so that's a massive spike, and that means that these interceptors are dead in the water pretty much. Bonyth is going to have to simply rely on his ground.
Yeah, and all those interceptors actually died. I wouldn't be surprised if each and every one of those carriers has had 0 interceptors.
Jeez.
Looks like so many bases here for Terror. I don't think there's a way out here for Bonyth. I mean, we'll see if Terror maybe overextends. The thing is, he hasn't reinforced this army in a while. There's probably a bunch of units at his natural or some, I don't know, like Terror's macro is slipping up, but I just don't think it matters. It's such a sturdy mech force that just this is going to be more than cost efficient. He is creeping up with the siege mode slowly but surely, but bleeding a lot of Goliaths, and if you bleed too many Goliaths, there's a break point where the interceptors just don't die anymore, and everything will get cleaned up by these carriers. So maybe a bit of an overextension actually from Terror.
I think this is still okay because it's still about 3 to 4 Goliaths per carrier. And what Bonyth needs to do is he needs to make the game wild, because unlike the other game on Blindside, Bonyth had a 5th base, and he doesn't. This time he only has 4, so this might be the final engagement. Carriers are going to try and intercept these tanks and Goliaths, but you can see there's so many Goliaths. There's also so many tanks, but the tanks are out of position, and the ground army is going to clean up most of them. There's only 1 remaining, and DT's in the back. If they can trigger a mine explosion onto all these Goliaths, that's a missed opportunity from Bonyth right there to trigger those mines. Instead, they're just going to suicide. And now, maybe these Goliaths are out of position and will be wiped out, and this is exactly what Bonyth needs, because his main in Nat is dry.
Yeah, it is dry, and it just so unfortunate for TerrOr. Like, I don't understand how he allowed himself to get into this position, but this is the type of move where even if you have a huge advantage, I mean, luckily for TerrOr, he did kill that one Nexus at mid left, but there's just so many carriers that definitely Bonyth has the opportunity to grind this one out. Though obviously TerrOr just has a huge economic advantage that I still don't see him necessarily losing this game, because he's going to be able to make Goliaths for days and days. But it's just that once Protoss gets to 8 carriers and they're mining and they have Storm, it doesn't matter what your situation's looking like as Terran. It's just incredibly hard to fight against that.
Well, TerrOr needs to transfer those SCVs in his main to another base. I think he's even taking top middle. That's how much of a dominant position he's in. But you can see that his main and natural are dry too. Bonyth retaking mid left. He's only mining on one base right now, but the carrier fleet is really strong. If the vessel has EMP, that could be a game changer. Observer spots bottom right, just the main though. I don't know if he knows about the natural, but this is going to be another big engagement. That's a lot of carriers. Storm, I don't see any just yet. The carriers for now are trying to just pick off whatever they can and try and take as minimal losses as possible. Supplies are about 30 ahead for TerrOr, but what angle does Bonyth attack into? Is that, I think that's only like 7 carriers. It's not a ridiculous amount. Just okay, it's 8, so that is pretty high.
Yeah, that's a lot of carriers, but the supply from Terran is just so scary. Not enough Goliaths though for 8 carriers. Like, this is gonna get eaten up. I mean, the Goliaths, okay, finally more Goliaths reinforcing here. No, never mind. That's a lot of Goliaths there. But if a Storm or 2 lands,
yeah, if Storm lands, and with Goliath all out in front, easily a Storm could land. So TerrOr has to be careful. I think that's the 9th carrier that's synced up right now. I didn't see any armor upgrades on the carriers or shield upgrades, so that means that these interceptors get obliterated by +3 weapon. And with a 30 supply lead, I'm really just wondering, why is TerrOr's army so small? Like, you look at it, and I mean, it's decent, but it's not as big as you're expecting when you see that he's max.
well, he has like full saturation on basically 4 bases, 5 bases, maybe even, because he has a base at Bullet Fog. I think he has probably like 80 SCVs or something, just way too many, probably even more than 80 SCVs. And a lot of the supplies also in these vultures that are harassing, they're doing a lot of economic damage, but definitely overmade workers this game TerrOr has. Is that going to bite him though? Because with these massive upgrades, he's still fine. And honestly, with the, you know, the upside of having overmade workers is that TerrOr is going to be rich for days. He can make units non-stop.
Yeah, but if the Protoss army reaches, you know, like 170 supply of just pure army, sometimes you just can never trade effectively enough to ever whittle down what Protoss has. We do see that Vulture counterattack killed almost all of the workers, and that means that Bonyth is going to have to rebuild them. Luckily for him, he has 4 Nexus, so he can rebuild it quite quickly, but he is stuck on pretty much 1.5 base mining for now. But still, those workers for TerrOr really hurting him right now. He desperately needs to either mine top middle or get rid of them, because it is dead supply right now. Top middle going to fall, but this is going to trigger a counterattack from TerrOr, and we may have a base trade scenario, because I don't think Bonyth is going to try and turn around and save this.
I mean, is it Flash or is it TerrOr? Because he's going to be able to kill these these Nexuses here. This is a great situation for TerrOr. I mean, looking at it from the observer's perspective, it's hard to know what's going on here. But the one, yeah, I know, Nayakan, I heard that desperation in your voice. The one problem here is if Protoss gets on top of the factories, it could be game over. But no, TerrOr comes back. He killed the Nexus too, playing out of his mind. There's no way Protoss can contest this. I mean, he is so low on resources, and there's just so many units. And actually, TerrOr ran his units back when he saw that he was going to be okay with just the rally from the factories, but again, it can be scary. Like, if Protoss gets on top of the factories, that's one way to throw this game as Terran. But the reality is Protoss has only one mining base left, and that's the one at mid left here, or bottom left, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to go down. So even if Bonyth gets on top of these factories, I feel like he will eventually bleed out.
Yeah, but carriers have a lot of DPS, and that's 9 carriers, and as you said, this is where it gets dicey. There's a lot of tanks helping to deal with the goons. There's still 6 or 7 left over. They have decent DPS. Tanks are going to siege up, try and take down some of them. Meanwhile, the Goliath count, is it critical mass for TerrOr right now as it stands? I think that the answer is, actually it is. D-Matrix goes off on the Goliath at the top. As you stated, Bonyth has no econ behind this. He's not mining anywhere, but that's still 9 carries. That's a lot of interceptors, and I don't think he actually has enough Goliaths.
Well,
he can, if he focused down the armory, what do you do? Yeah, desperation starports. He realizes he can't hold this anymore.
Yeah, well, that's... I can't believe I'm watching this. This was... Terror, if TerrOr loses this, he is going to kick himself so hard. It was so
he got 1 carrier. It's still 9 though, and there's an observer here too. Now, okay, what TerrOr has to not do is do not click cloak on that starport. That gives it away that starports are being built at bottom right. But yeah, this is not what TerrOr was expecting. He's going to continue to base trade, and you know, we could get into a scenario where Bonyth might have to turn around because he might get eliminated.
Yeah, I still think TerrOr's going to win this game. I don't actually think...
Well, he needs to start expanding if he's going to, because Race will go through a ton of econ very quickly.
Yeah, but there's only 1 observer, and he's going to have plenty of scans to establish exactly what's up. And
does he though? Because he doesn't have scans on any of the bottom bases. Okay, he has 1.
He has enough. He's going to be fine. He just has way too many resources to work with. Like,
no.
Well, like you mentioned,
1K.
Protoss will have to go back at some point. Maybe, I think Bonyth is definitely... There's so many turrets too to buffer. I mean, they will chew through this. It is close.
He doesn't have cloak, man. Like, he doesn't have it just yet. It's building.
Yeah, I mean, Bonyth needs the beeline to bottom right, but will he get eliminated? Like, at some point, when does Bonyth make that call to be like, okay, I gotta save my buildings?
Look at this, he's spamming observers because he knows it has to be Wraith. And what's funny here is 1 DT would have cleaned this all up. Also, it would have forced a scan, which we know is a limited resource at this point. There's 3 Wraiths out, that's it. Yeah. And you know what's not there? There's no turrets.
Well,
I think Bonyth won.
Yeah, let's see how much time Bonyth... Oh, that observer has speed as well, and it's kind of sharking around to check what's going on. Yeah, Bonyth definitely most likely has done this. Carriers are just insane in this number. I'm not sure, American. Like, it only takes... That's enough rates to kill... Like, if he kills half these carriers, it's enough.
Okay, he's cloaked. He's looking. There's no observer here. Where did the observers go? The observers
are looking for bases.
Why? He's looking for bases, and he gives up the vision for his carriers. And these 8 Wraiths are going to eliminate 3 already. That's going to be 4. He scans for the observer. That observer's going to get taken out. And there's an observer behind it. There's an observer behind it, though. Will that observer save the day? The answer is no, not just yet, at least. He takes out... Did he get that observer? He did. No, he didn't.
No, he's targeting his own Wraiths, actually.
Okay, now he gets it.
He killed enough. He killed enough carriers, because now these carriers are gonna just not get through turrets like they have been.
Oh my god, this is one of the most wild BSL games I've ever seen. 2 Wraiths versus 2 carriers. Of course, he has a lot building up. Look at the supply now. 80 to 75. A minute ago, it was 97 to 67.
And the thing is, like, TerrOr's still killing the base.
Yeah. And behind this, you know, Bonyth's not mining.
It's over. Bonyth lost. Yeah.
1 DT would have killed every single unit at top left. I realize, like, this is from observer point of view, but just pointing that out, that there was a win condition here for Bonyth if he eliminates the Goliath. Now that he hasn't eliminated it, there's no chance, and that's going to be the last remaining carrier except the one at top right, which can't support it. And what a wild game. Bonyth brought it back, but in the end, TerrOr reigns supreme, just barely. I can't even believe.
Nyokin had an earthquake at his place while he was casting that and didn't even realize that he destroyed his green screen here. So he has to get up and put it back in position. So we're gonna get into the bracket here instead of our lovely faces. Nyokin struggling to get that green screen up. He's got the moves though, I'm telling you, he's making it work. And TerrOr up 3-1 on match point. He has a lot of chances to take it here. I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, I can't believe it either. It's 3-1 for TerrOr. You can see I'm holding my green screen right now. But yeah, TerrOr, I thought it was super close the whole time, but after the engagements went in favor of TerrOr the whole time, I'm like, wow, is he really going to go 3-1? But then the carriers, I mean, you heard it. I'm like watching it. I'm like, this is 10 carriers, man. You get on the factories. Factories die really fast when there's carriers. And Bonyth almost made it work. And when I saw that the starports were going down and how they had just started, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and it's a big blunder there for Bonyth to not have observers with his carriers. There's really it was just no reason for him to split off the observers to go looking for bases, but in any case, really unfortunate for him. Yeah, man, I don't know. You know, do you think honestly these gaming chairs should come with like built-in green screens at this point? I feel like everyone and their mothers that buys a gaming chair is also a streamer on Twitch, you know, at Twitch affiliate or whatever, and they want to make it big. I feel like just what a clown world we live in, man.
Yeah, if you play games, you probably stream, so it would make sense. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I'm holding up my tiny one. Everybody got to see our green scenes. You got that massive one that you hang from your ceiling, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have some like I have like a fake ceiling. I'm actually outside. No, I have some things I can like hook over them, and I don't know how to explain it, man. Because like yesterday, you were telling me about pillowcases, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like pencil case? Who calls it a pillowcase, dude?
That's what it's called. I don't know what you call it. It's called a pillowcase.
It's just a pillow. So
you don't put anything over. Like, you don't put any sheets on the pillow. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yeah, I put sheets on the pillow, but
that's called a pillowcase.
Yeah, but I call that my pillow.
Okay.
Like, well, do you say you have a Hello Kitty pillow or a Hello Kitty pillowcase?
Hello Kitty pillowcase.
No, you don't. No one says that.
If it doesn't have a case on it, then it's just a Hello Kitty pillow.
Yeah,
okay. But anyways, we'll just wait for chat to weigh in here because I know they'll side with me 100%. But let's talk about our potentially final.
I had some dope pencil cases though, and
you wanted those. I never had a pencil case.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about potentially our last game of the day. It's going to be on Eclipse, Game 5.
Never had a pencil case.
No. That's not me.
I'm going to keep derailing the show here, and Nyokin is desperately trying to get back on track here. We can't talk about Eclipse, guys, real quick. That is actually, this is game number 5, right? Or
it's game number 5.
Yeah, number 5. So this should be Bonyth's pick.
It is his pick.
Not that it matters really, because once you get this deep into the map pool, it's not really anyone's pick, right? Like you kind of have to play all the maps. But Eclipse, so far we've seen a lot of aggressive play from TerrOr in the first half of this series. In this last game though, that DT rush didn't quite work out. How do you think Eclipse is going to affect the builders?
Well, of course he's going to scout fast. The question is whether it's a gas steal or if it's for, you know, zealot shenanigans. You know, we haven't seen 12 Nexus at all, and you don't see it that often on Eclipse, but maybe that could be a good opener here. I'm not too sure exactly what Bonyth wants to go for. As any Terran knows, if you play Eclipse, you're getting gas stolen, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But yeah, this is going to be match point for TerrOr. I can't believe I'm saying that. He is one game away from dethroning Bonyth here, but Eclipse is one of the hardest maps for Terran now that Protoss has changed the meta where they go for Gateway Man with Templars. But Bonyth is not a player like that.
Yeah, he's not a meta player. He's a Bonyth player, and he is a carrier man, and that's definitely going to be what he's going to go for on this map. But luckily for him, carriers are actually really strong on Eclipse.
Yeah, carriers are actually very deadly on this map. There's a lot of ledges that you can abuse. Players like Snow always make it work on this map. He's so effective with them. And Bonyth is kind of in that kind of ballpark where when you think of Bonyth, you think of Carrier Man, you think of Reaver Man. He's got superb micro. So if he can get to that stage, he's going to have much better success on this compared to Shakuras like we just saw.
Oh my god, someone in the chat said, haha, who calls it a pillowcase?
Yeah, but how many people sided with me?
Damn. Well, he did say the English-speaking world does. So he was actually making fun of me, in my opinion.
Oh, he was? Okay,
Yeah.
See, I knew people would side with me. Just a pillow. I'm like, you're crazy, man. You lost your mind. Mihai, he's lost it. Well, we're going to go into game 5, guys. This is potentially the last game of the day. If TerrOr wins here, he's going to be our BSL champion. So let's see if he can do it. It's going to be on Eclipse, a Protoss versus Terran. So in the top right, he needs your energy, chat. I can't believe I'm saying it. It's Bonyth. And in the bottom left. Oh,
okay, you do it both now.
I'm just so hyped, man, because I can't believe it.
Anymore,
in the bottom left, one game away. It's TerrOr. Where's Bob Malcolm, man? I'm sure he's blowing up that Latin America stream. Like, he's spamming the Peru emote from TerrOr non-stop. I know
Bob
for a fact
Malcolm
he
is
has
the kind of guy who, after this is over and TerrOr's crowned the new king of BSL, he's going to get into his Honda Civic and start driving around like a man, honking his horn and screaming out the window, TerrOr won BSL, TerrOr won BSL, and everyone's going to be really, really confused and scared because this man's about to drive his car into somewhere.
Well, it might happen. Well, we've got no forward pylon, so we're not going to have any zealot stuff. We haven't also seen a fast scout either, so no gas steal. So surprised to see neither of those. Meanwhile, TerrOr, depot in the main, of course. And barracks. Okay, he's going to put it next to his command center, a typical placement, but a lot of times you see the first depot right to the right of that
next
barracks.
To the right there, that's actually Zealot tight, right?
Yeah, it is. But if you were to go to a depot to the right of the racks and then another depot to connect to the wall, that's a great SimCity versus Zealot.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's definitely the
That's
go-to,
amazing.
But I do like the fact that he has 2 areas to micro his Marines too. So it's not the worst decision here from TerrOr, but definitely on Eclipse, that is incredible to use the kind of the Great Wall of Depots, I like to call it. But Bonyth, uncharacteristically, well, here's the thing. In normal circumstances, I would say that Eclipse, again, 2-player map, as Protoss, you want a gas steal at least. You want to send that probe out early and maybe force the Terran to take an 11 gas, just throw them off a bit, especially because you know where Terran spawns. Like probe harassment is just so strong. So either go for that gas steal, go for a proxy, or go for 12 Nexus, but Bonyth is playing extremely standard instead. And in a sense, I kind of understand that against TerrOr. Maybe he wants to just get into the mid game without a hitch. To be fair to Bonyth, in these 5 games, I don't actually think a single one has been standard in the sense of both players getting into that mid game, into that late game on even footing. You know, last game we saw that DT rush fail. The previous 3 games, or 4 games, whatever it was, we saw, or 3 games rather, we saw a bunch of 2 factories and early aggression from Terran. So maybe Bonyth just wants to slow the pace down a bit, slow the tempo down, but will he be successful?
Yeah, now TerrOr was mining with double gas, and it's going to be another 2 fact. So you people out there that see Artosis use this 2-fact terrors obviously copied that build. He's going to go for it again. And this time around, the Zealot kills one Marine. And the Goon is chasing that SCV around. Bunker's going to go down. And this Bunker is going to be a bit of a mind game. Try and sell the fact that he's going for a command center. But actually not the case. Now what Terran should do, or what Protoss should do, is of course poke or run past the bunker to confirm whether it's a command center or not. When he sees there's nothing there, he's going to realize that, hey, this is another weird opener. And Bonyth is going for a Nexus follow-up. And if he puts down a fast robo, he might be in trouble.
Yeah, this is a really
there it is.
Nexus fast robotics again. Never that 2-gate. 2-gate, honestly, the 2-gate off the Nexus is one of the most, like, generally the standard opener is to go for this robotics. Obviously you want to get the observatory out and see what's up, but the 2-gate can be just so stable against someone who's as aggressive as TerrOr. A lot of Protosses do like to go 2-gate, especially against stuff like it completely shuts down the 3-tank push off of the expansion, and it's much more stable against 2-factory. Now, the nice part about what Bonyth is doing is that with the robotics, he will be able to go into 3-gate. That's exactly what he's doing. He saw everything, and he is going into 3-gate, so he will have observers out early. That's going to be really important to deal with the Vulture follow-up, and he will have 3 gates at some point, but he needs to micro his heart out with these 3 Dragoons. Use the high ground. Does he have Dragoon range? Yes, he does. Focuses the tank right away, and then the second tank, if he sees the second tank, I wouldn't be surprised if he just pounces on that. Instead, gonna pull back, hitting the mines, hitting the Vulture. Just clinical micro here from Bonyth. More Dragoons on the way. 3rd gateway done. You know, when you're Protoss in this situation, just stop making probes. Only make Dragoons, tech up to those observers. So far, this hold is really good from Bonyth, but this is the scary part. 2-factory Vulture coming in. That's only 1 tank though, and really that's not a lot of DPS to output onto Dragoons. With the high ground there, they will be able to shoot down a couple of these units. Mines get placed. Will TerrOr commit to trying to take this base? And if he does, will he commit to a siege?
I don't think he is. This is going to be similar to the Polypoid game where he's just content with taking down the... Oh, he does have siege. He needs to rebuild those mines in front because there's not a lot of DPS other than this 1 tank. And this is going to be Bonyth plowing through, and the Nexus did not fall. That means TerrOr is in big time trouble. Also, Vultures don't get into the main either, so didn't kill a single probe. What I was really shocked to see is there was no SCV there. If he had built a bunker, that would have made this push so much stronger. But with no bunker, easily the Goons push through, and now TerrOr, what do you do from this position?
Yeah, this is done. It's done. So Bonyth is going to be in a really good spot, holding onto his Nexus. No command center in sight. Has a shuttle out, but obviously doesn't have a Reaver, so I don't know what he's shuttling across the map there. That's hilarious. Maybe it's just a scout, or maybe it's just a scare. Oh no, that's the observer actually. But he does have a shuttle at his main base. Shuttle is obviously fine. It's used just to defend this. Is that a robotics actually, or a support bay at the top of his? Oh yeah, he is. So yeah. Reaver is on the way, and with the Reaver, I mean, TerrOr has to start thinking about getting an eBay. Armory is nowhere in sight. If he gets an eBay now, I mean, he doesn't even have a natural. This is just a disastrous position for Terran.
Well, Terrans, when they continue to go all in like this, do have a second shot if they keep it up. You can see that mines are getting into position, even though the tank count is only at 2. We did see Bonyth earlier today misstep with his Reaver control, you know, in the main of blindside. He ended up losing that shuttle, and there's always the possibility that that could happen again. Bunker set up in position. This is still a scary push, even though Bonyth is up 20 supply. So far, so good, though. Okay, that tank needs to be careful, though. There is a mine dangerously close. You know that Bonyth tried to jump on that. Oh, the mine is not the greatest. Oh, the Reaver almost explodes on a mine, but it ends up being saved. And this push is going to be denied, I think.
Oh, it definitely will be. I mean, this Reaver is going to do... Well,
he can't
the Reaver's
see
probably low here. Oh, he needs to target fire, but actually those tanks shot at the Dragoons before the Reaver got put down, so I don't think either of those probably just one tank got the shot off, but that Reaver playing with fire doesn't go down. The reality is that TerrOr actually, or rather Bonyth, has way too much econ to play with anyway. Even if that Reaver died, he would be in a fantastic position. Citadel is on the way. So still this, I mean, with this Reaver just chewing at this contain, I don't think TerrOr will ever get a position going here.
No. When I saw the 2 SCVs being sent from his main, that means there's nothing there to rebuild the bunker or repair these tanks, and they were completely isolated, and this is just picture-perfect play from Bonyth here. He's going to easily overwhelm this push, and I imagine the tap out is going to come momentarily because SCVs have been cut this entire time. TerrOr has no command center, no nothing really as a follow-up. Now he's rebuilding it, but look, he barely has 12 SCVs, and that's it. Supplies are doubling, 58 to 30 supply right now. And the Reaver, it did get taken out, but he can rebuild it easily. He also has 6 gate with Citadel, so speed's going to be coming in pretty soon.
Yeah, speed is going to be coming in, and that's really when Protoss can flex their economic advantage by just making a bunch of man lots and running through the Terran position. At that point, doesn't matter how good your, you know, the zealot speed, well, GG, TerrOr calls it. Bonyth does start mounting a comeback here. He is up to 2 games, but it is still TerrOr's match point.
Yeah, so he is still 1 game away, and when the going got tough, Bonyth clutched it with a great defense with his goons. I was worried. Well, first off, as a Terran watching the tank die, I'm like, oh no, this is already a disaster. But he at least killed a goon, and that was critical because once you reach 4 goons, not only do you 1-shot Marines, you 2-shot Vultures, you also 2-shot tanks. So he could just kite for days with the goons. Yeah. So eliminating the tank for the goon was okay for both sides. At least Bonyth couldn't 1-shot or 2-shot all of the units. But really, Bonyth held it perfectly and then transitions it into the Reaver.
Actually, 2-facting across the high grounds there is a pretty huge mistake. Like, when you're 2-facting on this map, you can go through the middle, or you could go through the bottom side too, and maybe use one of those side ramps to get back onto the high ground before you push. But going straight through the middle like that, like, is one of the worst ways you could execute the 2-fact there. So that was actually kind of a huge blunder from TerrOr. You can, you know, when Terran is like 1-basing like that against the Protoss that expanded, you have all the time in the world to take kind of crazy routes, because what's Protoss gonna do? Counterattack your natural? What natural? I mean, it's not even there. So, so as Terran, you can use that fact to approach from weirder angles than you normally would.
Well, that is true, and Terran is all about critical mass and having those key units, you know, stay alive when you have a few numbers, like the tank. And not only did he lose the tank, he also lost the first Vulture, which was a big deal. He didn't get mines in the position that he wanted. But regardless, got to give props where props is due. Bonyth clutched it in Game 5. That means we're going to get into Game 6, and this is where we're getting into maps that players don't want to play. And the next map is going to be Blue Storm. So TerrOr is going to risk it all on this crazy map. It is limited resources, but this is arguably the hardest map to deal with carriers on because the terrain just messes with you. If Bonyth ever gets into another position where he's in the main with carriers, you're not coming back. That's not a thing, and you don't have 100 bases to hide starports in a corner. And even if you do, he's going to get there quickly. So we may see another fast attack from TerrOr. And sitting in that gully that we've talked about quite often, especially in TVT, that is an option here for TerrOr if he won't. So we'll see if he wants to go for something like that, or maybe Bonyth gets crazy, goes for a proxy gate somewhere. So let's get into Game 6. Again, match point for TerrOr. We're going into Blue Storm. So in the top right, or in the bottom left, we have our red Protoss clutching it in Game 5. It's Bonyth.
And in the top right, in that yellow Terran, it is TerrOr.
So or Blue Storm, oh, there it is. There goes that probe, and this is pretty quick. And you always have to be wary of where this is going to be. Is it in my main? Is it outside my base at the high ground like that? is it even at the third base overlooking my mineral only? Like, there's so many places that you can put this proxy gate. It looks like he's decided that this is where it's going to be placed. Now, something about Blue Storm is you can wall top right, and it can be zealot tight. So we already saw him go for that on blind side, but this time around, not going for that.
Yeah, well, you can wall both positions, right? And
yeah,
surprisingly does not choose to go for that, as you mentioned, but you can go for it with your second depot. It only takes a depot and a racks, right? So I think it's fine to maybe use your first depot here to increase your mining a bit, but we'll see what TerrOr chooses, what kind of SimCity TerrOr chooses to go for. Actually, the racks is going to be next to his depot. That is not a 2-gate. Gas deal, though, coming in here, and I like this from Bonyth. This is exactly how you should play a 2-player map.
Yep, and it comes at a timing where where this looks like a normal gas steal timing. And again, probe gonna get directly onto that to that barracks. Now the SCV, he's got to scout both sides, and he's gonna scout neither side. So he has no idea that this is going to be a proxy gate. Of course, this is a tiny map. He's coming in here and seeing nothing. He's going to know that something's up. But already, this is a good opener for Bonyth.
Yeah, well, okay, goes straight for that second rack. So he's just assuming that this is a proxy gate, because honestly, you wouldn't want a 2 racks versus not proxy gate. If this was kind of a gateway at the main base for Bonyth, and he was just taking his gas right about now, TerrOr would be feeling really silly going for the second rack. So a bit of a blind counter, to be honest with you. But, I mean, it's not like an instant win, obviously, for TerrOr. Protoss just has to recognize, okay, he's going to get aggressive. TerrOr is going to try and push out to try and kill my natural, or my proxy, rather. And I do like this from Bonyth, exactly what he should be doing. Get that second gate and just ramp up Zealot production to contest this.
The SCV barely gets away. Okay, it does fall, but that SCV bounced in in Flash's favor like it always does. Did not get picked off by the Zealot, but now Zealot probe going to come in again and again. The SCV gets away, but the probe is sharking for it. Oh, it knows where it is. It's trying to. It's going to get it. So that's 2 SCV kills already on that probe, and that's devastating amounts of damage. And behind this, the gas steal is also devastating, because that means he can't go into a fast academy or something like that. But you know what's funny? I'm sitting here wondering if TerrOr will gas steal Bonyth.
I mean, he
because they can't build goons.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think Bonyth would care too much about that. He can just take an expansion. You know, Protoss is going to be happy to play Zealot versus Marine any day of the week. And so far, Bonyth is getting some really sick trades. A couple of SCVs just not mining this entire time. Also lost 3 SCVs in total. The gas is nowhere near being killed. TerrOr is in no man's land right now. I mean, it looks like TerrOr will be able to get on top of this proxy, which would be good for him. But with the second gate, I mean, there's going to be so many Zealots rallying in here. Probably another Zealot coming out of the proxy. So 3 Zealots in total. Not to mention, TerrOr actually doesn't know where the proxy gate is. He hasn't scouted it.
Yeah, he doesn't know exactly. And those Zealots are worth. They are trading 1 Zealot for 2 Marines every single time. Uh-oh, did he find the... Oh, what? Those Zealots can't get through. And that was a slick micro control from TerrOr right there. He even eliminates one of the Zealots for free. Now the second Zealot is going to save the day. Takes down 2 Marines already. Oh, potentially 3, but the Marine count is ramping up. He is going to eliminate this gateway and pylon. But you can see behind this, gas is mining for Bonyth. So we're on a countdown before goons come out, and then also that critical range upgrade kicks in.
This is a good position here for Bonyth to be
amazing.
Killing so many Marines as well, just making sure that basically TerrOr, you know, it is true that at some point this type of Marine play could reach a critical mass where there's just so many Marines that Zealots do nothing. The DPS output is incredible once Marines are massed up. So keeping the number down is very important for Bonyth, and especially so once he gets Dragoons out. That's really gonna punish TerrOr if he does not have enough Marines to deal with it. And then once range finishes on the Dragoons, I mean, Bonyth can just micro forever.
He has to SCV pull, and he needs to go quickly because range has started. In fact, I think he needs to pull now because 3 Zealots are moving in his base. And that's SCV that has gone in right now. That's to get vision on the minerals. It's go time for TerrOr. He did not trigger. He did not send SCVs. I think this is a huge mistake because range is definitely going to complete.
Yeah, I was thinking about just that too, Nayokin. I mean, TerrOr is, again, he was caught in no man's land. He never killed his gas. He's just making Marines. I don't know why he hasn't pulled SCVs. This is all in. I mean, that's a lot of Marines. Range is not quite done for the Dragoon just yet. If he gets some critical bunker locations, but he's just pushing forward with these Marines. They're going to get surrounded by all of these probes. There's a shield battery finishing. These probes are doing so much damage. And without SCV support, these Marines are going to go down, and that's going to be it. Like, 3 Zealots coming back. They're going to kill this bunker here. But TerrOr, meanwhile, well, TerrOr did kill his gas. Is starting to take his gas now, and building a command center behind this. But what are you going to do when the Dragoons come and knock out your front door?
Well, you're going to tap GG because he doesn't have a bunker. He doesn't have range. He doesn't have anything. The Goons are going to have range kicking in probably by the time they get across the map. And TerrOr, unfortunately, I think is about to be in a tied score situation, 3-3, and that means that Bonyth is now going to be on championship point pretty soon, unless there's some type of miracle that I don't know about. I just don't know how you ever stop Goons without range, without a factory, without anything.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You don't. These Dragoons are going to put on so much damage onto this bunker that even if TerrOr is going to get drained of resources just trying to repair this bunker.
Yep, and you can see that those...
Oh my god.
Well, he loses a Goon. That's as good as anything that's ever going to happen for TerrOr. Factory has started, but range is completed. So 3 Goons are going to range this bunker with the second command center going. I guess TerrOr can catch up in workers and try and salvage the game, but he is in such a horrible position. The Zealot might fall, which is great. That means potential to bust the bunker with a Zealot attack surrounding it. Not in the cards.
Oh my god, that Dragoon! Oh, yeah, that other Dragoon!
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Look at that barracks placement. That's forcing the Goons to not be able to get behind the mineral line. I think that's amazing, but look at that. Goons are in the sweet spot where they can be in range from the left side, but that forces... Well, SCVs are getting onto the bunker, onto the Goon.
This isn't good for Bonyth. He just lost all of his units. He's not actually putting damage onto the bunker. And the factory, it looks like he had a couple striking Marines. I wonder how many probes that got. But with only 2 Dragoons here, TerrOr actually stabilized, and he's ahead in supply. I don't know how that's even possible.
How's that possible? Okay, well... Whoa, okay. Typical.
Oh, Hurricane!
We're just going to go to Stargate on 1 gas. We've also got a Robo. Which...
What is happening in this game?
Think about this, okay? Think about this.
I'm thinking. Am I thinking?
Well, like, at least the Goons see that the barracks...
be thinking about anything here now.
At least the Goons see that the Rax is blinking, but like in a normal game, you're thinking, okay, this guy probably rushed Academy. He's probably getting range. He's probably building Marines, but of course we see that he's not this time. So I guess the Stargate's okay, but he is playing with fire here to be rushing Stargate as a follow-up when he didn't kill any SCVs now that this guy's got his NAT up and running.
I kind of like it actually from Bonyth because the only timing TerrOr has here is to go bio. Like, you cannot go 5 factory against this. You cannot go 4 factory, whatever. You can't go Goliaths. It's so early the Stargate timing is. I mean, he's basically skipping robotics to get into Stargate. You need to go bio, but it looks like, I mean, Bonyth just sees these racks are kind of doing nothing.
Unreal. I can't believe that this game did not end. And he's got, honestly, almost perfect saturation across his 2 bases. Like, if you look at supply, it's 52 supply. I think there's 6 Marines out, and he has 2 tanks. We'll assume he's queuing 2 more. So that's 14 supply. That means he has 38 workers right now. That's enough on 2 bases. Like, he doesn't need any more. However, his gas is extremely lacking. Yeah, he does have robotics. He does have support bay, and he's going to come in here with this Reaver. But there's no Academy to tip off anything that this is Stargate. Now, Armory starts and Academy starts.
Well, I thought this carrier rush was coming in way faster than this. Well, it's still fast, but I mean, With the Reaver here, that does give TerrOr a bit more time to increase his factory count. Now, all of a sudden, a 5-fact push, 6-fact push is possible.
No, okay.
Big
4
connection.
kills. Yeah, that's a big hit. It's 4 SCVs, and he's going to take out the turret, which means he can fly into the main now.
Man, I gotta... I almost have mini heart attacks watching these scarabs fly from those golden slugs, but Bonyth trying to shark around here, find any kind of entry point. Does get deeper inside TerrOr's base. Does kill 1 Marine. This Reaver has free reign. No Goliaths out just yet. The Marines go down, so no anti-air. The shuttle has absolute freedom to just move around and pick up and drop this Reaver. A lot of damage is being done, actually. I mean, it's not... Well, he did kill those 4 SCVs. Oh, this shuttle, though, can't run into that turret. He did kill a lot of SCVs and forced the SCV pool off of the natural, but was it enough damage? I mean, look at this. The targets are already blinking.
Yeah, carriers are going to be coming out in about a minute or so, and TerrOr's going to be like, what? How do you have all this already? But he probably doesn't realize that the game's already almost at 12 minutes. Like, it's crazy how long this game has already been going. Reaver triggers a mine, and he pulls it up, and that means that the SCV just ends up dying in the end. And if you look at what Bonyth really has as defense, it's just those 5 goons in the Reaver. So, he is playing with fire.
Oh, this is a huge mistake.
Yeah, he doesn't know what it is. So he's just expanding.
From I mean, you can't expand on this map because, especially for someone like Bonyth, like, you know he's going carriers. What are you going to do? Expand to a mineral only? You cannot play 3-base Terran against carriers when you don't have a 3rd gas. It's just not... You don't have enough gas to get everything you need to get to fight carriers, to get enough upgrades, to get the Goliaths, to get the factory count. All of it adds up, and 2 gas is just not enough to sustain that. You desperately need to do some type of 2-base push, and on this map, 2-base pushes are incredible because, as you mentioned earlier, Nayokin, you can get into that nook, into whatever you like to call it. I don't know, the secret door, the peekaboo spot.
Secret door, yeah.
Peekaboo spot, because hello, I'm killing your nexus from here.
That's the Nyokin spot. That's the
Nyokin spot. Yeah, getting into that Nyokin spot. So it can be extremely hard to defend against 2-base pushes on this map, but with that 3rd command center, I don't like TerrOr's chances at all this game.
I like how he's hidden the carriers. There, he has them hidden at the bottom right side of his base. Meanwhile, TerrOr is going to move out. And again, I still don't think he scanned it. Not too sure, but when he sees, okay, he scanned the carriers. When you see that there's only 4 goons, obviously you know there's something up. Obviously, like what else could it be? So he is scrambling to get up his 5 factories. He's going to start building Goliaths. The command center has not been built. Now, Blue Storm is one of those maps where the center platform area, you can't build turrets there. So the fact that TerrOr is sitting there, well, he needs to be careful because he doesn't have any turrets to support these tanks and he doesn't have any Goliaths. So this is just going to be free pickings for the carriers.
Yeah, he's going for a push, but his plan was to expand. Like, there's just no synergy here, and look at how many factories he has, but he has no upgrades. And honestly, Terran desperately needs upgrades to deal with the carriers. That's actually the original reason why upgrades to the Terran even became a thing. If you remember back in 2008, 2007 on Katrina, all the Terrans were dying to 2-base carriers, and then the Flash was like, well, wait, here you can make armories. And you know, that really helps in dealing with carriers, but without upgrades, it doesn't matter how many units you have, they just do not deal with the interceptors fast enough, and these tanks are all gonna die to 2 carriers here, and once these tanks die, that command center is gonna go down. I mean, Goliaths are gonna get rallied here, but it's just so tricky to defend against 2-base carriers when you don't have a 3rd gas and you're expanding.
Yep, carriers are going to deal with these tanks, and the goons are dealing with the Goliaths, and with the Goliaths going down, it doesn't matter if there's only 2 carriers because there's nothing that shoots up. Turrets are being, or SCVs building the turrets are being picked off. That means that the carriers continue to have free reign, and what was a miracle defense at the natural for TerrOr, still, well, I'm not going to call it anymore because it's crazy. It's crazy how he held the nat. But yeah, it looks like this is going to tie the series up 3-3.
It is going to go down to Game 7. One carry goes down, TerrOr GG's. And, my god, I can't believe we're going the distance here, but it is going to be a Game 7. Bonyth bringing it back after a failed 2-fact and then a successful proxy gate. I guess, what is it? A successful proxy gate or a failed 2-racks or I don't know what that was. But
I think it was both sides. Successful gateway because the Zealots killed so many Marines. 1 versus 3. Like that was game saving for Bonyth there. And I think for sure TerrOr needed to go for the SCV pull. Marines, if you open Marines and you can't even build medics, can't get any upgrades, what other option do you have? The fact that he got his natural is unbelievable, but I think that was his move. If he wanted to win the game, is just to go for it. But it is what it is, and
I mean,
what it is now.
Like, there's just no way. Like, there's no way TerrOr should ever have held on to that natural.
Never.
And if TerrOr had just went for 5-fact there, he could have contested that game. It's so mind-boggling. Like, especially you're playing Bonyth, and every single series, he has tech the carriers. Just 3 base is not to play against this guy.
But we'll see if TerrOr ends up going into something like that 5-fact or like 8-fact on 3 base. But it's match point now, and the last remaining map doesn't get any more epic than this. It's going to be Power Bond. You know, that's my map, and this is another map that's really hard to deal with carriers. The center of the map is quite open, but there's so many ledges.
I cannot believe that we're going to end this tournament on this map, Nyokin.
Power Bond, baby.
Yeah, more like Nyokin Bomb. I don't know. It doesn't.
Yeah, Nyokin Bomb.
Yeah.
My Batman. So this should be a very exciting map to end on. TerrOr, he was so close to clutching it 4-1 or 4-2, but now Bonyth has brought it back, and it's 3-3. And I don't know. You know, TerrOr's obviously. Well, I think nerves are starting to get the best of probably some of the players now, because when you're at a 3-0, 3-1 lead, you're thinking, I got this. And now 3-3, all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, the momentum has shifted towards the opponent making the comeback. But TerrOr, he's played well. Like, in every single game, he's played well. Really, the blindside game, I think, could have been his. But these past 2 have been all Bonyth.
Yeah, all Bonyth. Really. Okay, well, actually, guys, we are going to go into the final break of this BSL season, and when we get back, it will be the game number 7, the rubber match between these 2 titans to crown the BSL12 champ. Don't go anywhere.
And these tanks are split up, and Tandy's 6-fact might overrun TerrOr, but he's being a little bit too passive.
I don't know, but like TerrOr is gonna be able to siege up on the man. Yeah, imagine just us casters here sitting talking about Blue Storm. Yeah, this is exactly how the map plays out. Yeah, you could have never predicted this, and I don't even know who's gonna come out on top. Dandy's gonna be able to push out onto the high ground here. He's gonna clear the tanks from Peter Castle, but the problem is that Dandy his production is compromised.
Yeah, but SCVs are so strong, but you need to actually have SCVs.
No,
he's losing all of
the
his
SCVs, dude.
Yeah, he lost all of his SCVs at the natural, and he has 6 factories, but he doesn't have that much stuff.
This game's over. That's it.
No, I don't think the game's over.
No, the game's over. He literally lost all his SCVs at his natural. He has only 1 base mining. The game is over. Like, there's nothing Dandy can do about this. You know, just information on where the Mutalisks are is so crucial in this matchup.
It is true. Anytime there is a backstab, and it can get, even just 1 drone can change the tide of the game. So this, Scourge. Oh, they almost get a connection, but that might have been a connection for Eonsarg finally. Now both players are going to engage in the center of the map. I think True Touch has a slight advantage. It's 8-6, 8-7 really. 2 players, or 2 Mutalisks, are heavily damaged for both sides. Now it's 9-7. True Touch. So True Touch, he has a couple near his mineral line, but I don't think he realizes that.
That is so many more Mutalisks for True Touch, though. All he has to do is micro correctly, and he does. And somehow Eonsarg gets stuck on the Overlord. The Mutalisks aren't in range to moving shot them down. And that's going to be... Oh my god, actually, True Touch feels the need to come back and defend his base. He doesn't want to lose all of his drones. Makes a bunch of units out of... Eonzerg's dead, man. This game's done, so.
Well, there's 10 Mutilas versus just 4 right now. And True Touch is going to come in here and see that spore colonies are being morphed, but really, he could wipe out that... Oh, is he going to find isolated Mutilas? No, those 3 in the back are able to get away. However, there's that sweet spot, the Gypsy spot. He's just hanging out, man. And he's going to be able to eliminate half of the mineral patches just hanging out there. Oh, he's just going for it. He realized that I don't care about 1 spore and 2
just
Mutilas.
so many Mutilas, and Eonzerg has none.
We're back, guys, and this is the final game, Game 7 of the finals, TerrOr versus Bonyth. It can't get more epic than this. TerrOr starts off with a 3-1 lead. Bonyth brings it back 3-3, and now we're going to decide it all on Power Bond. And Mihai, what do you think about this map for TVP?
I don't know. You tell me, man. This is your map.
This is my map. I gotta give it to you.
Always yeah, because you're the one who's telling me. I've never played. I barely played. You know, when this map was on the ladder pool, I remember you were talking to me about how great this map is for TVP. It's great for Terran, and I'm like, what is this guy talking about? I have this X next to it in my map pool, so I just haven't played it.
It's amazing, and what's great about it is, of course, you have the 10 mineral patches in your main, so your econ goes wild. But third base, heavily exposed, it's a mineral only, you can hit from all angles, and we know, as I've stated, meta in TVP or PVT has changed. But Bonyth doesn't play that meta, man. He always plays carriers, even when he's only on one base. We just saw him go Stargate. into the carrier play. And with the extra minerals, I've been talking about it all day long, the 5-factor, the 8-fact from TerrOr, this is the map that we could potentially see it with all that econ coming in from his main base. So players are ready. I'm ready. I want to see if we've got a new champion or if we're going to have a 5-time repeat champion in Bonyth. So this is it, guys. Power Bond Game 7, Bonyth versus TerrOr. Who's going to bring it home? So in the top left, looking for his first championship, it is TerrOr.
In the bottom, it is Bonyth.
We do have mid left versus bottom middle. And you can see that there is a lot of dead space on the left side of the map. So if we do get to carriers, Bonyth is going to have a good position overlooking that natural, overlooking the mineral only right next to TerrOr's base. So this is good spawns for Bonyth, really. But what you can do on this map is you can pressure really quickly. And we know that TerrOr has gone for 2-fact a lot of the games here. And with Power Bond having that extra mineral patch, he can actually transition out of a 2-fact with the extra mineral. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that again.
Yeah, well, he has opted for that 2-factory play almost ubiquitously this series here. I don't think there's maybe one game where he didn't 2-fact with the opener, or 2. But for the most part, it has been 2-fact. We'll see if he's going to stick with that. Not overly aggressive, though, with his openings. You know, TerrOr could actually go even more aggressive than what he's been doing. He's been doing a 9 depot into an 11 Rex almost every single game. Surprised we haven't actually seen him go for something like a 10-10-10. But, you know, not going to be the case. And that's actually a 12 scout, 13 gas. So looks like he's not going to 2-fact this game.
Yeah, he's been consistently doing this opener, and he is going to find Bonyth in the bottom position. Meanwhile, Bonyth going to find TerrOr last, so this time around, SCV is not going to have to deal with that probe. Now, again, we are just waiting to see if Bonyth builds that Zealot. He's done it consistently. There it is again, so he's going to put on pressure with the Zealot, force out more Marines. But really, TerrOr hasn't really cared about the first Zealot. That's not what's really damaged him. It's the second, third one on Blue Storm. It's the Goon follow-up, or, you know, things of that nature. So I'm sure he'll be able to handle this quite easily. This time around, TerrOr not minding the gas with more than one SCV. So we are going to have an expansion coming down.
Yeah, and he gets the first scout yet again to be able to get away with another Rax expand, basically. Zealot first as well. TerrOr does see that, so he will be able to put down a bunker and continuously make Marines. So this is a good opening for him. This is exactly the opening that he had on the Shakura's Temple game, where Bonyth chose to DT rush. So we'll have to see. You know, most likely Bonyth will not go for that
Now,
again.
I'm always looking at minor differences in build orders, and I have to point out every game that TerrOr went for the 2-fact, where did he leave his Marines? He left them on the ramp every single time. So without even scouting, this should be clear that this is a command center follow-up. This is something subtle that top players will realize. So Bonyth should have a read that this is not a 2-fact coming at him. So he should be able to respond appropriately. But the probe now gets in, and he's going to confirm it. But really, just simply because of the bunker timing and how the Marines are placed, you can read TerrOr. So I'm sure future Protoss players that hit TerrOr on the ladder should be looking for stuff like this.
That was really slick too from Bonyth. It did put a poke in with the Zealot to confirm the command center and simultaneously ran the probe as the Zealot was tanking the bunker. So not only does he confirm the natural, but he sees exactly what the follow-up is. It is going to be 2-factory here from TerrOr. And, you know, still this doesn't quite give away Terran's build order. Sometimes you can establish really early on what the Terran is doing. For example, if that was an academy, factory academy armory, you would know it's just 1-fact. But with the 2 factories, you can still go for an early armory. You can still go for kind of a siege mode. You can go for 3 tanks. But the longer this probe stays alive, the better. And it looks like Bonyth doesn't think that TerrOr is going to go for a 3-tank push, so he gets the robotics out.
Yep, there is the eBay for TerrOr. It's a little late. If this was a DT follow-up, it would have been already doomsday for him. It would have been too late. Meanwhile, Probe Scout's everything. Now, my personal favorite follow-up to something like this is 5-fact mass tanks, and you just go for it. And I think that's a good killing move versus someone like Bonyth who just goes carriers every game, really skimps out on the ground. That would be a really, really solid opener. And the mass tank style on 5-fact, you don't see it that often. So it would, I think, catch Bonyth off guard. Now that turret may be like 1 pixel too far to the right. Shuttle may be able to get around the left side. That would be heartbreaking for you TerrOr fans out there. Meanwhile, first tank is out. We'll see if this is going to be siege mode or if this is going to be the 3-tank opener that you're expecting.
Well, we'll see here. I mean, TerrOr doesn't have a second gas, so this is for sure either siege mode into vulture spam, like the 6 vulture push out, or it's 3 tanks. But because this tank is kind of just chilling around, I really think this is going to be 3 tanks into the double factory vulture. And because Bonyth went for that robotics, you know, if Protoss goes into 2-gate right away off of the expansion, that really punishes Terrans that skip siege mode, and you skip siege mode for this play here. Whereas if you go for the robotics, it allows Terran to at least get this push going, and sometimes the micro can be tricky for both sides, so we'll see here.
We have another aggressive opener from TerrOr. He's going for that 3-tank vulture follow-up. As you pointed out, Reaver's going to be coming in, and it is punishing versus lack of siege. I saw an armory going down at the natural of TerrOr, but I didn't see gas. Oh, vultures get across the map. How does that happen? And because he probably went Reaver instantly, these vultures getting into position is a big deal. He's already laid mines outside of the natural, but we know Bonyth has the best Reaver control in the foreign scene. He can easily delay this push by the time he needs to make sure that he has units in position. But meanwhile, the Reaver has gone all the way to the natural, and it's missed the units, I guess. He's going for a counter.
Turrets. This is terrible for Protoss.
Yeah, is he just going to unload there and try and kill SCVs? He manages to pick off 1 tank with those goons. Now he's going into the main. That shuttle is so low, but I don't think there's a single turret in the main.
I can't believe Bonyth is playing like
there
this.
He's
just gambling so hard. And even the reality is that without this Reaver, he cannot defend his natural. He built a gateway there to slow down the push from Terran. That shuttle is still alive with what is that, 1 HP? That's incredible.
Health. Oh, it's dead! That means it's a dead Reaver! I can't believe it! And that might have been the game-ending mine hit right there. There was 1 gate for so long that Bonyth does not have that much production. That needs to be a turret, and he needs to build a bunker. And if he can get both of those up, this is going to be such a hard position to actually bust through. But you can see TerrOr's floating a decent amount of money. He needs to build factories if he wants to commit to a push like this.
TerrOr has everything within his grasp right now. This is match point, championship point.
Dies.
And it's all within his reach. I mean, everything went wrong for Protoss. Absolutely everything. Reaver dying, shuttle dying. The push gets into the natural without really taking any damage. I mean, I thought for a second it might look okay for Bonyth because he sniped that 1 tank, but never chose to bring back the shuttle. Just went for the YOLO gamble play. But TerrOr smartly just had turrets prepped, and actually TerrOr will take that, kill the Nexus, then fall back here. So playing extra conservatively, extra carefully. You know, definitely he could have committed to a contain there. Like, he knew that he killed the shuttle and the Reaver, but going for this 3-base play is really smart as well. He does have double factory and starport, which is not really, well, the starport sometimes you see it, except he already has turrets. I don't think he needs a Wraith here, but he's so far ahead that it doesn't really matter. The only problem is that he is going to have 2 factories here, and 2 factories, they don't really produce that many units.
Yeah, this is where you know Protoss built a lot of gateways. That's 100%. He needs to get at least a third factory up. And he's expanding towards the mineral only, but his command center is not, okay, thankfully he's not going to try and double expand. That would be an insane move. Meanwhile, we see that Bonyth is going to try and recover here by taking his mineral only. Vulture is going to spot it, but this is a lot of goons moving into position. But with bunker, mass turrets, and tanks, this should not be a successful attack. Bonyth should back off after he spots this. He's going to bleed maybe one goon. They take a big hit there. I did see the shuttle is out, so the Wraith, once it finds the shuttle, I think we'll catch it because it doesn't have speed. That cybernetics is spinning, so he's going to try and go carriers off of this.
Yeah, Stargate is on the way. Double expanding here. TerrOr, though, he will have that really fast third base. It's kind of interesting that he chose to go for this mineral only, given the fact that he put the command center so close to the gas expand. But this is the safer base to take. This time around, you know, I was talking about how when you go for this 3-base play, it's really hard to deal with carriers, especially if your third base is mineral only. But I mean, TerrOr has such a huge tempo advantage, such a huge economic lead. It doesn't really matter that he doesn't have that third gas to work with. He's gonna have so many more units than Bonyth, and he's gonna kill a lot of probes here with the Vulture. As you can see, the supply is just so heavily in favor for Terran, breaking that 100 supply mark, whereas Protoss is struggling at 64. And I mean, if there's one way Bonyth can come back, it's through that flying blimp. We saw it on Shakura's temple. He almost made it work. He's gonna have to have a similar game this time around because he's really up against the ropes here.
Yeah, and he just now started mining his nat gas. Was that a scan? I don't know exactly, but Bonyth doesn't even have that much gas to build carriers. Like you can see, he's starved at 250. Now we see the factories finally coming in. We see that double armory is coming in, and there are no workers even in the main for Protoss. I don't know why he transferred them all, but he is. There's actually just none. There's 0 probes mining in the main.
Yeah.
Is this broken? I think it broke. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it broke. Meanwhile, okay, we're going to get in. Well, maybe not, because there's just no probes in the main. I think that there was a Vulture drop that got in there, and you can see that everything else looks kind of normal. I'm trying to see if I can see what the supplies are. The screen is very blurry. What does that say? Like maybe like 120 for TerrOr? Like 90
like
for
that.
Protoss?
110 to 90. I mean, it's still looking really bad here from Protoss's perspective. He is starting the carrier production though. Does have a lot of Dragoons here and the shuttle coming around, trying to mount a bit of an offensive, or at least get some map control back to prevent drops. But you know, on this map, given the spawn locations, drops are definitely in favor for Terran because he does have access to kind of the back of Protoss's main base, whereas Bonyth doesn't really have access to Terran's main base.
Well, we can see that +2 started, and according to the game, it looks like there's not a single carrier out, and that means that +2 will be done when maximum of 4 carriers are out, and that is a huge advantage for Terran. I saw that TerrOr was also building a 4th command center, so he's going to be taking that base next to his that has gas at that base, so that's going to be a good influx for him. Vulture drop into the main again, and this is going to deal a good chunk of damage because we already know Bonyth is on a low probe count. He doesn't even have his 4th base up. Drop is still alive. Also, he's going to reload up those Vultures and save it and go to the natural maybe, or actually just re-unload in the main again. And you can see he's even taking a 5th base, but the first carrier is out.
Yeah, I mean, TerrOr is just doing whatever he wants. He has such a commanding lead, building command centers all over the place. When really, I mean, that can be pushing it a bit. Again, it doesn't really matter what he does, but if TerrOr just sat here and macroed, he could A-move unsiege mode and win the championship here, but instead he will kind of just build a bunch of command centers. His factory count is quite light. You know, it's not really the factory count that you want to have when dealing with carriers, but he's just so far ahead Nyokin. I don't think it matters.
Well, it's at 8, which is decent, but once you get 4 gas, something like 10 to 12 is good. He's resituating one of them. I'd like to see him plop one more down. Well, actually, he doesn't need to because he's about to have +3 coming, but he needs to get that 3rd base gas. He is moving across the map now. Look at this, 177 supply. No idea what it says for Bonyth. Maybe like 130-ish. But 2 carriers are out, maybe 3. Yeah, it's just 2. And look at this paltry ground army. As I've stated, the key for fighting carriers is you need 3 to 4 Goliaths per carrier. If TerrOr has this, he could be on the brink of taking this series and this finals. Here comes potentially the final fight. Tanks have sieged up. They're melting these goons. These carriers are not helping at all. The Reaver, I think, might have also fallen. And TerrOr, he's pushing.
That was a really good focus fire actually from TerrOr. Killed the Reaver. Has so many mech units. You can see that Bonyth is trying to fight, but with this Goliath count, those interceptors are going down like butter. And, well, butter doesn't really go down, but, you know, you cut through them like butter. The TerrOr is pushing into the mineral only of Bonyth. So many probes getting killed. 4 carriers up for Bonyth, but you can see in TerrOr's perspective, he does have those 5 bases going. Mass factories behind this. Protoss just relegated on these 2 bases. With the last stand here, 4 carriers. I just don't think, you know, 4 carriers are pretty nuts, but
he's so
are they
close. There's no ground. There's no ground support, Mihai. This is just 4 carriers. It's not critical mass. It's not the 9 carriers where they just survive and get free kills all day long. And you can see the mass scans are going off. He's wondering, okay, am I just going to lose because you've hidden something? He even starts Cloak because he realizes if he kills the carriers, this game is over. There is no standing ground army. He's approaching max. Meanwhile, that's a sub 100 carrier army or Protoss army. He's just going to try and catch reinforcements because that's really all he can do. He doesn't even have a nat anymore. He's going to be mined out in the main versus 5 base Terran.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bonyth is just hoping that somehow Terran does not have more than the 3 bases that he's currently on, but the reality is Bonyth doesn't even have more carriers on the way. You know, you would expect him to, you know, I could understand staying in the game. Well, it is the last game of the tournament, but without those 2 carriers, he's not even increasing his carrier count. He doesn't have any bases, doesn't have any units, and he's not increasing his carrier count. So he's definitely in a absolutely nasty position, contained on his high ground as well, or his main base. Those Dragoons are just chilling, can't go down the ramp. TerrOr's done it, man. TerrOr is going to be the BSL12 champ. I mean, there is no way around it. This guy has fulfilled the prophecy of Latin America.
Yeah, he's going to be the one to do it. And this attack coming down the ramp, whenever it happens, is going to be the last stand for Bonyth. But there's no chance of him breaking it. I saw TerrOr start +3. You can see that his main is basically dry. Interceptors cost money. So eventually he's just going to run out of it unless he gets that nat, which ain't happening. And look at the mini-map. It's just base after base all over the place. Here it comes. This is the last stand. It's basically pure goon and carriers. The goons can't even get down the ramp without getting shelled by these tanks. And look at how fast these interceptors fall. There's, what, 2 left? That's it? And TerrOr, he's going to be our champion of BSL12. We're just waiting for the GG. There it is. And he's done it. This is the first Terran, winner in so long. Really, the only
This is the first non-Bonyth winner.
Yeah, non-Bonyth winner also. But other than Dandy, in Season 4, we've seen all Protoss and Zerg winners.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe that Terran
Dandy
has
won. Koget came close as well. But there hasn't been a champion, I guess, since Dandy. And who better to kind of pass on the torch to than another Peruvian Terran here in TerrOr. And this is going to be a day celebrated by all of Latin America. I mean, every time we have a Latin American player on this broadcast, there's just so much love coming in for them. Remember this day, guys, March 30th, 2021, the day TerrOr won BSL 12. And you know he's going to be happy about this, man, because last season, was it last season? No, last season was when he went, he got 2nd place. Remember BSL 10, he bombed out in the round of 24, I'm pretty sure. And to come back from that season to 2nd place and then to 1st place this season, just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, what a killer. And as I stated earlier, if you watch BSL 11, even though it said 4-1, the games were great and TerrOr had a good chance to win there too. So I'm not surprised that the games were as good as they were this time around, and TerrOr takes the victory. You know, of course, I'm a little surprised because Bonyth just so dominant. But finally, you know what else is going to change, Mihai? Not only is Bonyth not king anymore, that 100% win rate versus Terran, that doesn't exist anymore on the profile picture for Bonyth. Finally, somebody's going to beat him.
Well, we have seen Bonyth kind of falter sometimes in tournament settings to Terran's. I think it was an RCG, right, that Dandy had beaten him not too long ago, maybe last season or something like that. But yeah, just incredible performance here from TerrOr. I kind of can't believe it, man. Like it was really, really unexpected, especially in the way that he's done it. It was just so dominant, even in macro games. But guys, we are going to go into an interview with the players here in just a second. I should mute myself on this one. Yeah, we can. Okay. Yep.
I can hear you.
All right, well, first off, congratulations, TerrOr. You end up winning BSL. Last season, you were so close getting second place, but this time you finally done it. How do you feel right now?
Hello, guys. First, I want to say Bonyth, very good games. It was really tired for me. Like, I had to play at my full best this series, and I'm really happy. I was not able to. I was focusing on TBC, and yesterday I tried to practice as much TBP. I'm happy that it paid off.
So what was your mindset coming into the series versus Bonyth? Because I was kind of surprised to see you pull out so many 2 factories. Were you trying to exploit a certain timing versus him?
Yesterday, Bonyth played a show match against 10-minute flash. I was checking the games, and I saw that 2 factory was very effective. So I was practicing the timings. I'm glad that they worked.
Yeah, they worked very well for you. Mihai, you have any more questions? Or you have any other questions for our winner here with TerrOr? You're muted.
No, I know I'm muted. I was come on. You think I'm not paying attention here? Well, TerrOr, I mean, how the only thing is it really a question? You know, back in season 10, you had a rough tournament. What was it? You lost in the round of 24 or something, or was it round of 16? But it was really early on in the tournament, and you know, looking back at that, it seemed a bit heartbreaking almost. But then you came back last season, of course, second place, and then this season you won it all. And I know every time you stream, you're always putting on your titles there, hype for the next round, and training, and you're always training. And even you were talking about how you're going on vacation. I remember this, and then you're on vacation and you're still playing Brood War, wherever it was that you were at, and you had this like green screen of like a beach and everything. So what does it mean to you to have all this hard work culminate in this victory here today?
Actually, it's a very, I don't know how to say, it's a very awesome feeling, because all the hours, all the practice that I have put on this game to prepare for the tournament pay off. I mean, last season I was happy that I was able to make it to the final, but I always felt that I could play much better, and I tried to show up that this season. That elimination that you mentioned on BSL10 was a turning point for me, because I got a lot of backlash in the South American scene, because going out, because they knew that I was celebrating the previous day. So
yeah.
So yeah, it was a motivation for me to improve, to try to show better games. I'm really happy that it paid off.
All right. Well, Bonyth, so close to that number 5 victory. You know, we've been joking around for a while now that the BSL is really the Bonyth Starleague. This time around, though, just not quite there. How do you feel? Do you feel disappointed, or just tell us your reactions here?
Well, first of all, I should congratulate TerrOr because he showed up pretty strong this season and he definitely deserved the win. As for my feelings, of course, I wanted to win. So I'm a little bit sad, but hey, finally, after all these seasons, I'm not in the first place, so at least there is gonna be less pressure on me the next season because it was really getting more and more pressure each following season.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the audience wanted a new champion. I could feel all that. So yeah, of course it's disappointing that I lost. I hate losing, even though well, I'm composed and relaxed most of the time. But I really hate losing. So yeah, the TerrOr, I'm gonna catch you the next BSL.
Yeah, so just to follow that up, do you feel like at least this is going to be a nice point for you to maybe regain some of that motivation? Have you ever felt like, because you've been winning every single BSL, especially the last 4 iterations of it, has that ever taxed your motivation? Have you ever felt like, I just don't care anymore? I've already proven it time and time again. Have you felt like that, or now do you feel kind of a renewed sense of motivation, or has it never been an issue for you?
Well, my motivation is always high. If anything, it's too high, right? So I definitely do want to win. So yeah, maybe. Well, who knows how it would have turned out if the finals were the next week, as they were always been. But well, the schedules were busy. Well, TerrOr had the same conditions, so I can't hardly excuse myself. But good games, really good games. Also, yeah, I should have dodged that PVT that TerrOr mentioned earlier against that Korean.
Yeah, well, I guess this is going to be the last question for me, but next season, so of course both of you guys are going to have a seed here, but for Bonyth, are we going to see, if you play versus Terran, not carriers?
So that's this question is related to the question number 2, or rather my answer. Since I didn't have that week, I couldn't prepare non-carrier builds, so I just played to my strategies that I know by heart. So yeah, that's why I stick with carriers. Well, obviously, even if I had that week, I'd do carriers 75% of the time, but not 100% probably. So yeah, that's the answer.
Well, Nyokin.
No, I don't have any questions. I just want to say congratulations to you both. I know RCG is coming up. I know both of you are already seeded into that. So I wish you luck there, and hopefully one of you can take down the title.
Well, thank you.
So again, congrats to both of you. TerrOr, of course, finally tasting that victory here in the BSL. Bonyth, not quite there, but I mean, still an excellent tournament from you. So nothing to be too.
That disappointed that you ended up second.
Yeah, I know. Of course, it's always disappointing to lose, but overall, you look back on it, and it's still a second place, which is amazing. I guess we can start with you, Bonyth. Any words for your fans or for the BSL audience? Anything you want to say closing out here?
As always, thanks for the support, because it was going to be my 5th title, but so for the viewers who were still rooting for the old king, I want to thank you with all my heart. I don't know how many of you there are, but yeah, great. Big thanks.
And TerrOr, our champion, what would you like to say to the viewers and to the fans? And you can also answer in Spanish for sure. Just whatever you want to say here.
Okay, first I want to thank you guys for the organization, the casting. It was BSL is always a fun tournament for me. It puts a lot of motivation to keep playing this game. I hope there are many more seasons to come. I want to keep showing that I can keep the good level. To my viewers, to people that have been supporting me since forever, like I have subscriber from 3 years ago, 4 years ago. These guys are awesome. I just love them. They're really funny when I'm streaming. Even when I lose, they are always there supporting me. So this is for them. Also for my girlfriend that also supports me a lot. We will not get a vacation soon, maybe in a couple months, but yeah, we have that pending. Y bueno, Spanish, para la gente español que siempre me apoya, muchas gracias por siempre estar ahí. Disculpen si a veces me pongo a joder en los streams, solo broma, se lo tomen a pecho y nada. Gracias y nos vemos en la RCG y la próxima BSL. Cuídense. That's it.
Well, thank you guys. Again, congrats to both of you, and we'll be seeing you next BSL, which we will have news for you guys on that front at some point in the future. But the BSL will be on break for a while, but definitely you guys will be here for the next one, BSL 13. So congrats again, and good luck in the future.
Bye
Bye.
Take care. We are back in Poland in the caster desk. It's just amazing what you can do with this internet thing. You can just kind of teleport around the world, and
Yeah,
I mean, I mean that is instant transmission.
it is quite the invention. The internet was completely changed the world.
We actually transformed into the players.
Oh, we did.
That was us, but them, and they are us.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what that means. You're gonna have to tell me that later. Exactly what that means. But
that means
that's gonna be
a fat philosophy diploma right there.
Okay. Okay. Well, chat, if you know what the heck Mihai is talking about, write that down there so I can read it before we get out of here. But that's gonna wrap up BSL 12, guys. We hit the BSL 13 goal, so there is going to be a next season. And we finally have a new champion. It's going to be TerrOr, the hope of Peru. So congratulations to him. And of course, we want to thank our sponsors for supporting the BSL, because without them, it could not happen. Of course, our main sponsor, Esports Fund. And then of course, our Patreon supporters at the $100 level, we have Star Lover, $50 level, Grail, Striker, FTX, Sony, $30 level, Tupacalypse and Gruglug, and $20 level, Cuz X Civil War X, Christian Eddington, Mad Cat's Fury Road, Martin, Harsmar, LML, and Lingen Pump, and all you other Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting the BSL. And remember, as always, $10 or above Patreon supporter, you're going to get all the replays. You want to know how TerrOr took down Bonyth? That's how you get those replays. So definitely think about becoming a Patreon supporter of the BSL. And then, of course, we've got the shop. I'm sure we're going to have a new item coming pretty soon, potentially the BSL pillowcase.
Yeah, or BSL pencil case.
Yeah.
So, guys, obviously another way to support the stream and the tournament is to just buy some stuff. Also, check out the YouTube Bombastic Starleague on YouTube, where all the VODs get uploaded. Make sure to subscribe to the page and share the videos there. But yeah, man, another BSL wrapped up here, BSL 12. I can't believe we are already at the end. Grand finals there. You see the bracket. TerrOr takes it over Bonyth 4-3. And just a 6-6-6 tournament.
Yeah, really insane games. You know, looking at the brackets, it was 3-1 across the board until today, where we had a 3-0, and I was like, really? We're just going to have a 4-0 or 4-1 today?
Yeah.
Look at that. 3-1
Yeah.
every single matchup except today. And then it couldn't have gotten any better than this. 4-3, TerrOr versus Bonyth. Just an amazing BSL season. I was very happy how this season went. It was very exciting. Tons of good games, tons of close games. Yesterday, the PVZs between Bonyth and Ziki. Score says 3-1, but again, could have gone either way. Those were immaculate games, just really good. So many great things happened. Also, we see Ultra made round of 8 for the first time ever. A lot of good things happened this BSL. I'm very happy with how it went. But that's going to be it for BSL 12, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. BSL 13 will be coming back later in the year because we've got RCG coming up. So we're going to be on a bit of break, but you're, of course, going to have a lot of StarCraft to tune into in the next couple weeks or so. So definitely check out RCG. Those games will be very exciting, and we know that Bonyth and TerrOr are already qualified for that.
Yeah, and it'll be on this channel, guys. So, you know, if you're not, well, I mean, if you're not following, you're not really a human being, I feel like. So, not really any reason to talk to you. But I think most people are following the channel. Make sure you guys follow the channel, of course. That's actually the #1 way you can help BSL grow, is through just sharing it. Again, you know, we saw at the beginning of the broadcast, Terran Mallow talking about community and helping the community, and it is just all about the StarCraft community on this channel and with these tournaments. So make sure to just share it. That's gonna be it, man. That's gonna be it from us here in Poland. BSL 12. It was a pleasure. Nye. It was a pleasure working with you. It was a pleasure, viewers, to cast for you guys. And yeah, I don't know. What else? That's it.
That's
I'm
it.
Guy. He's Nye.
Bye-bye.